Chapter 61. White Cloud Town was named after the blue skies and faint clouds that were often seen in this place. Although the town was not big, it was bustling with activity, and people came and went. Fujiwara no Chiko and the others found an inn and settled down. After settling down, Fujiwara no Chiko changed into a set of local clothes and put on a bamboo hat with a veil. Then, she went to Hattori Chiyo's room. "I'll go out and ask around," Fujiwara no Chiko said. "Why don't you just leave it to them?" "There's no need for you to go," Hattori Chiyo said. "My Chinese is better than theirs. The Yi family is full of experts. I don't feel safe letting them go," Fujiwara no Chiko said. "I'll go with you," Hattori Chiyo said. "It's not good to have too many people. Your Chinese is not as good as mine. It's easy to expose yourself," Fujiwara no Chiko said. Then, she asked, "Why? You don't believe me?" No, you think too much," Hattori Chiyo quickly explained. "If that's the case, be careful." Fujiwara no Chiko nodded and left. After leaving the inn, Fujiwara no Chiko asked passers-by where the Yi family lived. After knowing the exact location, Fujiwara no Chiko quickened her pace and walked towards the Yi family. She was very careful along the way. She carefully observed her surroundings to prevent anyone from following her. Fortunately, she did not find any signs of being followed. After a while, she arrived in front of a pawnshop. The pawnshop was not big, but it had an antique feel to it. The words Yi Pawnshop were very eye-catching. It was already evening, and there were no customers in the shop. The clerk at the counter was using a feather duster to clean up the pawnshop. The shopkeeper next to him was fiddling with an abacus, calculating the day's income and expenditure. Fujiwara no Chiko saw that there was no one around and slowly walked into the pawnshop. "Dear customer, we're about to close. If you want to pawn something, please come back tomorrow," the clerk immediately said when he saw a customer. The shopkeeper didn't even raise his head as he continued to calculate. "I'm not here to be a pawn. I'm here to find someone," Fujiwara no Chiko said in fluent Chinese. "Looking for someone?" the shop assistant asked. "Who?" "Look for your boss, Yi Kong," said Fujiwara no Chiko. "Why are you looking for our boss?" The shopkeeper stopped what he was doing and asked after hearing Fujiwara no Chiko's words. "Something important." Fujiwara no Chiko said, "It's urgent." "Have you made an appointment?" the shopkeeper asked. Who was Yi Kong? How could he meet him whenever he wanted? "No," Fujiwara no Chiko replied. "How about this, miss? Please leave your name first and come back tomorrow. I will report this matter to my master tonight and give you an answer tomorrow. What do you think?" The shopkeeper said. "As I said, it's urgent," Fujiwara Chiko said as she pressed her palm directly on the counter. With a little force, her slender white palm pressed directly into the elm counter that was more than a palm thick. Fujiwara no Chiko retracted her palm, leaving an inch-deep palm print on the counter. What are you trying to do?" The shopkeeper was shocked by the scene in front of him. "As I said, I'm looking for your boss, Yi Kong," Fujiwara no Chiko said coldly. "Now. Wait here," the shopkeeper said to the worker who was staring at the handprint in shock. "Go and get the first master, quick!" The shop assistant was also shocked. He immediately opened the back door and ran to the backyard. In less than a cup of tea's time, the curtain at the back door was lifted and a handsome middle-aged man walked in. He was wearing a green shirt and had bright eyebrows and bright eyes. "Which friend is looking for me?" The middle-aged man walked to the counter and asked. "It's her." The pawnshop assistant pointed at Fujiwara no Chiko and stammered. "Friend, let's talk nicely. There's no need to scare the people in my shop." The middle-aged man looked at the handprint on the counter and said with a smile. "You are Yi Kong?" Fujiwara no Chiko asked. "That's right." The middle-aged man said, "Friend, you damaged my counter. You should compensate me." "Excuse me." Fujiwara no Chiko cupped her hands and bowed. She took out an ingot of silver and placed it on the counter. It's urgent and I had no choice. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't be able to see you today. Oh! Yi Kong motioned the shopkeeper to accept the silver and said, I don't know you. You came to my pawn shop and didn't want to redeem anything. Why are you looking for me? Fujiwara no Chiko didn't say anything. She just glanced at the shop assistant and the shopkeeper. The middle-aged man understood and waved his hand. The shop assistant and the shopkeeper turned and left. Are you really Yi Kong? Fujiwara no Chiko asked again. Friend, if you continue to be so unreasonable, I'm sorry I can't accompany you. The middle-aged man said as he turned and prepared to leave. Wait a minute. Fujiwara no Chiko shouted. The middle-aged man turned around. Fujiwara no Chiko suddenly waved her hand and the door of the pawnshop closed automatically. The crossbar also fell down and blocked the door from the inside. What are you doing? The middle-aged man calmly asked. Since you are Yi Kong, you must know this sword. Fujiwara no Chiko put down the scabbard and hit the hidden spring. With a snap, the hidden compartment of the scabbard automatically popped out. She reached out her hand and pulled out the Chiho sword from the scabbard and placed it on the counter. This. The middle-aged man's expression changed when he saw this. He reached out and picked up the sword. His left hand held the hilt and pulled it out with a slight force. With a swoosh, the sword was pulled out by a foot. The roar of a tiger and the roar of a dragon could be heard, and a white light flashed. The whole room instantly lit up. This is the Chiho sword, the middle-aged man said. Snap! He closed the sword and put it on the counter. He stared at Fujiwara no Chiko. Who is Ito Fumio to you? How did you get this sword? I killed Ito Fumio. I took this sword. Fujiwara no Chiko said. Ha 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 ha. The middle-aged man looked up and laughed. I'm afraid the person who can kill Ito Fumio hasn't been born yet. Tell me, why did your master ask you to come to me? The middle-aged man asked with a smile. How do you know that I'm lying to you? How do you know that I'm his disciple? Fujiwara no Chiko asked with a frown. This Chiho sword is Ito Fumio's favorite. With his cultivation, he would never let this sword fall into the hands of an outsider. The middle-aged man continued, the scabbard on your back is also his. As far as I know, he has always been alone. He doesn't have a wife, and it's impossible for him to have a daughter. There is only one possibility for him to give you these two things. That is, he has already accepted you as his disciple. This person was indeed Yi Kong. Fujiwara no Chiko thought of this and immediately bowed. Uncle Yi, please forgive Chiko's offense. After that, she bowed to the ground. Get up, get up. Yi Kong quickly helped Fujiwara no Chiko up. How is your master? Master is very good, Fujiwara no Chiko said as she took out a wax pill from her arms and handed it to Yi Kong. Master asked me to give this to you. Yi Kong took the wax pill and squeezed it with his hand. The wax pill split into two halves. He took out a piece of white silk from it, and then shook it gently and read it carefully. So it's like this. Yi Kong looked dignified after reading the letter. Did Matsumoto Takeyoshi assign you a task? Fujiwara no Chiko didn't dare to neglect and told Yi Kong everything. After listening, Yi Kong frowned. He didn't expect that Fujiwara no Chiko's first target would be the Yi family. What made him feel even more inconceivable was that Matsumoto Takeyoshi actually knew that he had already obtained the golden ring sword. The golden ring sword was a legendary item. The sword's creator was unknown. It was said that this sword had already gained intelligence and could choose its own master. Its whereabouts were uncertain. One morning, Yi Kong had just woken up and discovered that this sword had actually appeared on his table. Other than Yi Fan, he was the only one who knew about this matter. Moreover, he had indeed instructed Yi Fan to deliver this item to his father, Yi Yun, in the next few days. Now, it seemed that things had far exceeded his expectations. Matsumoto Takeyoshi had used some unknown method to find out about this secret and had even sent experts to steal this item. It seemed that there was someone secretly monitoring every movement here. The plan now was to beat them at their own game and let Yi Fan continue with this matter to avoid alerting the enemy. Chico, you go back first. Yi Kong placed the letter on the candle in front of the God of Wealth statue and burned it. Everything will proceed according to your original plan. In 3 days, I will have Fan Air bring the item on the road. You can make your move then, but remember, let Hattori Chishiong make his move. Don't interfere, understand? I understand what Uncle Yi means, but… Fujiwara no Chiko couldn't help but worry. That Hattori Chishiong's cultivation level is extremely high, and he has the fiery sword. If that's the case, your son. Fujiwara no Chiko was afraid that Hattori Chishiong would hurt Yi Kong's son. Don't worry about this. I will secretly protect him, Yi Kong said. I won't make a move unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand. Take care, Uncle Yi. Time is of the essence. Chiko will leave first, Fujiwara no Chiko said. Be careful, Yi Kong reminded her. Fujiwara no Chiko nodded. After bowing to Yi Kong, she turned and left. After returning to the residence, Fujiwara no Chiko went straight to Hattori Chishiong's room. In the room, Hattori Chishiong was busy on the table. There were dozens of different medicines on the table. What are you? Fujiwara no Chiko looked at the medicines that she couldn't name and asked. Making an antidote, Hattori Chishiong didn't even raise his head. I have to think of a way to cure your poison first. Oh, Fujiwara no Chiko said as she sat across the table. How's the investigation? Hattori Chishiong took a little of each of the medicines and mixed them together. Then, he crushed them. In an instant, the room was filled with a strong medicinal smell. There's nothing useful, Fujiwara no Chiko said. It seems that we have to send someone to spy on him. Hattori Chishiong said. That's the only way. I'll send someone to spy on him later. I'll think of a way to make an antidote in the next 2 days. Hattori Chishiong walked to Fujiwara no Chiko and handed her a needle and a small porcelain cup. Drip a few drops of blood into this. I want to study the poison in your body. Fujiwara no Chiko hesitated for a moment, then took the items. She pricked her finger and dripped a few drops of blood into the porcelain cup. Go and rest. I'll let you know if there's any news, Hattori Chishiong said as he took the porcelain cup. Fujiwara no Chiko nodded and turned to leave. She returned to her room. The night passed uneventfully. The next evening, the ninja found out that Yi Kong's son, Yi Fan, would be leaving tomorrow. He would be heading to the Yi family's ancestral home with the golden ring sword. Hattori Chishiong perked up when he heard the news. Continue to monitor his every move. Once he moves, report back immediately, Hattori Chishiong ordered. Yes. The ninja quietly retreated. Golden ring sword? Ha ha. Hattori Chishiong laughed happily. I've long heard that the golden ring sword is the most mysterious sword in the Central Plains. It's said that the sword will automatically find its owner. This time, Yi Kong's son is actually carrying it. It seems that the golden ring sword will be mine soon. Obtaining the golden ring sword is one of my missions, Fujiwara no Chiko said. You're not going to steal it from me, are you? Hee, Hattori Chishiong laughed. If it's really the golden ring sword, I'm prepared to take it for myself. But don't worry, Hattori Chishiong took out a small wooden box and handed it to Fujiwara no Chiko. I've already prepared the antidote. When the time comes, you can go back and tell Matsumoto Takeyoshi that I injured you when you weren't paying attention and took the golden ring sword away. This. Fujiwara no Chiko deliberately pretended to be hesitant. In fact, she knew that with Yi Kong secretly protecting Yi Fan, the golden ring sword would not easily fall into Hattori Chishiong's hands. Don't worry, Hattori Chishiong said when he saw Fujiwara no Chiko's hesitation. I'll stay in the great Ming dynasty. As long as you need my help, I won't stand idly by. Okay. Fujiwara no Chiko pretended to agree and took the small wooden box from Hattori Chishion. However, don't you find it strange? How did Matsumoto Takeyoshi know that Yi Kong would give the golden ring sword to Yi Fan? Can't you see? Hattori Chishion laughed. Someone is secretly monitoring Yi Kong's every move, every word, and every action. Matsumoto Takeyoshi must have secretly bribed the servants of the Yi family. That's why he was the first to know. That makes sense. But, Fujiwara no Chiko changed the topic and asked, with Matsumoto Takeyoshi's suspicious personality, isn't he worried that you'll take the golden ring sword for yourself? Of course he's worried, hee. Hattori Chishion laughed. Did you forget? He thought that I already drank the poison, so he's not worried about this. It seems that you're determined to get the golden ring sword? Fujiwara no Chiko said. That's right. Hattori Chishion laughed. But don't forget, as you said, the golden ring sword chooses its owner. Furthermore, the Yi family has many masters, and this son of Yi Kong, Yi Fan, is definitely not an ordinary person. Fujiwara no Chiko said, I'm afraid this mission won't go so smoothly. From what I know, the Yi family is extremely conceited. Hattori Chishion looked as if he had a card up his sleeve. This golden ring sword is extraordinary, and definitely won't be handed over to an outsider for safekeeping. Yi Kong also seems to have smelled danger, and will definitely arrange for someone to send the sword to the Yi family's ancestral home. That's the safest place. The Yi family has many rules, and during the spring festival, each branch can only send one representative to the ancestral home. Yi Kong is a low-key person, and he's busy with family matters. He can't leave, so he can only let his only son, Yi Fan, escort the sword to the Yi family's ancestral home. The biggest taboo when escorting a treasure is to have too many people, or else it'll be exposed. So if I'm not wrong, it'll definitely be Yi Fan alone who'll be carrying the sword. As for Yi Fan's cultivation, hee. Hattori Chishion laughed. He's just a child. How big of a wave can he make? How can he beat the two of us? Ha 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 ha. Hattori Chishion looked up to the sky and laughed. It was as if the golden ring sword was already in his pocket. Chapter 62. The next morning. The sky was still dark and most of the people in Baiyun town were still asleep. However, there was already a group of camel caravans on the street. The jingling of camel bells seemed very strange in this quiet town. These people were none other than the ninjas. They hid around the Yi family day and night, closely monitoring the Yi family's movements. They received news that Yi Kong's son, Yi Fan, would bring the golden ring sword to the ancestral home today, so they made all the necessary preparations. Sure enough, a young man wearing a green robe and a felt bamboo hat walked out of the Yi family's gate. He was carrying an untangled rectangular object on his back. The person turned around and closed the gate. He looked around a few times and then hurried to the path. Captain, he's here, a ninja hiding in the dark said to the ninja leader. Yes, the ninja leader said. Should we inform the two of them? The ninja asked. Obviously, he was referring to Fujiwara no Chiko and Hattori Chiyo. Don't inform them yet, the ninja leader said. Follow him secretly first. We'll inform them when we're at a convenient place and try to get rid of this Yi Fan before they arrive. That way we'll be able to shut the two of them up and take the credit. When we return, Master will definitely reward us handsomely. Captain is right, the ninja said. Dealing with such a person is as easy as flipping one's hand. Humph, the ninja leader sneered. Take the camel caravan and follow him immediately. Don't let the cat out of the bag. Yes, the ninja said as he waved his hand at the ninjas behind him. Those ninjas who were dressed as merchants immediately brought out a caravan of camels and horses from the alley and followed behind Yi Fan in a grandiose manner. In this way, the 8 people followed Yi Fan all the way. When Yi Fan stayed in a hotel, they also stayed in a hotel. When Yi Fan got up in the middle of the night to hurry, They also got up in the middle of the night to hurry. They walked all the way to the foot of Mount Qinyun. This day was the same as usual. Just after midnight, they found that Yi Fan had already set off and climbed up Mount Qinyun along the path. This Mount Qinyun towered into the clouds, with cliffs and forests, pure white snow and few traces of people. It was the best choice to kill and plunder. The leader of the ninjas gave the order and immediately sent a messenger pigeon to inform Fujiwara no Chiko and Hattori Chiyo to come over immediately. Taking advantage of the time before they arrived, he would deal with this Yi Fan on Mount Qinyun and snatch the golden ring sword from him. After making up their minds, the ninjas changed into their night suits, released carrier pigeons, took their weapons, and ran all the way up Mount Qinyun. The speed of the 8 ninjas was extremely fast. In less than the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, they had already rushed halfway up the mountain. However, the scene in front of them gave them a huge shock. At this moment, Yi Fan, who was dressed in green, was actually sitting on a piece of limestone halfway up the mountain. It seemed like he was waiting for them. There's no time to lose. Kill him immediately. Go. The ninja leader gave the order to kill. Swoosh. Shwa. Shwa. 8 katanas were unsheathed at the same time. The 8 ninjas used their skills and surrounded Yi Fan. When Fujiwara no Chiko and Hattori Chiyo arrived, the 8 ninjas were already dead on the spot. Yi Fan opened his eyes, got up and walked into the cave. It was already midnight. The fire in the cave must have burned out. He prepared to add more firewood to the fire beside Fujiwara no Chiko. He walked into the cave quietly and found that Fujiwara no Chiko was not sleeping at all. She was sitting alone beside the fire, lost in thought. "Why aren't you resting?" Yi Fan said as he carried a large pile of firewood and put it on the fire. Then, he sat opposite Fujiwara no Chiko. "I can't sleep," Fujiwara no Chiko said slowly when she saw Yi Fan. "What's on your mind? Tell your husband," Yi Fan teased Fujiwara no Chiko. Fujiwara no Chiko stared at Yi Fan but did not say anything. "What's wrong? Are you worried about your poison?" Yi Fan asked. "I'm not worried about my poison at all," Fujiwara said faintly. "It's good that I'm dead. That way I can see my father. I miss him very much." Yi Fan frowned. "I'm here. You won't die." Fujiwara no Chiko did not say anything. "I'll take you to see Brother Kim. I'm sure curing the poison in your body will be a piece of cake for him," Yi Fan said. He had already made up his mind. Before dawn, he would take Fujiwara no Chiko to Feng Ming Mountain's Lingyun Cave to see Brother Kim. With Brother Kim's cultivation, he would definitely be able to cure the poison in her body. "Brother Kim?" Fujiwara no Chiko asked. "It's a long story." Yi Fan picked up the water bag and took a big gulp. "This Brother Kim is my sworn brother in my previous life," Yi Fan said and told Fujiwara no Chiko what happened to him. "I didn't expect you to have such a background." Fujiwara no Chiko was shocked when she heard about Yi Fan's background. "It's unbelievable." She originally thought that the immortal cultivation in the Han Dynasty books on her master Ito Fumio's bookshelf were all fabricated by later generations. However, after seeing Yi Fan's flying technique and everything Yi Fan said, her worldview had completely changed. It seemed that what was said in the books was not fabricated. "So, you can rest assured." Yi Fan leaned his body against the stone wall that was very warm from the bonfire. "Your body will recover tomorrow, but," Yi Fan asked with a puzzled expression, "it's not the spring festival yet. Shouldn't your poison wait until the 15th of the first lunar month before acting up?" "How could, that day, after Hattori Qianxiong was frozen by you, you also lost consciousness because of the cold air entering your body?" Fujiwara no Chiko said. "I brought the 2 of you to this cave and dug a big hole with a knife. I buried the frozen Hattori Qianxiong in it and lit a bonfire above it." Fujiwara no Chiko told Yi Fan what happened after that. After Fujiwara no Chiko lit the bonfire that day, Yi Kong, who was also dressed in white, walked into the cave. Uncle Yi. Fujiwara no Chiko stood up and bowed. Yi Kong waved his hand and went directly to Yi Fan's side, who had fainted from the cold. Brat, you only know how to show off. Yi Kong smiled as he carried Yi Fan and put him on the haystack. Is he okay? Fujiwara no Chiko asked. He's fine. Being frozen was a common thing in the past. Yi Kong said. What should we do next, Uncle Yi? Fujiwara no Chiko asked Yi Kong. When Fan Air wakes up later, don't tell him that I was here. Yi Kong looked at Yi Fan, who was lying on the haystack, and said slowly, Tell him about the siege on the Yi family's ancestral home in 3 days and ask him to hurry back to the ancestral home. You can follow the original plan for the rest. Okay. Fujiwara no Chiko replied. Chiko, there's an old saying in China, it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Now is not the time for you to take revenge. You must stay calm and not let your emotions affect your decisions. Otherwise, you'll lose everything. Yi Kong walked slowly to the entrance of the cave and turned back to say, Your master specifically told me to take care of your safety in the letter. But now that things have changed and the Yi family is in trouble, I can't be in 2 places at once. So now you can only take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, understand? Uncle Yi, don't worry. I'm still safe for now. Fujiwara no Chiko said. And be careful. After Yi Kong finished speaking, he used his movement technique and leaped into the air, disappearing. After Yi Kong left, Fujiwara no Chiko walked out of the cave and hunted a wild rabbit. She cleaned it up and put it on the fire to roast. As she roasted it, she took out the antidote that Hattori Chixio had given her. So far, it seemed that Hattori Chixio was telling the truth. She opened the small box that contained the antidote. Suddenly, a strange medicinal smell assailed her nostrils. Fujiwara no Chiko felt refreshed after smelling it. It seemed that the antidote was effective against her poison. She picked up the pill and put it in her mouth. As soon as the pill entered her mouth, a cool and refreshing feeling rushed into her organs, moving through her limbs and bones. Fujiwara no Chiko only felt that her whole body was comfortable and her spirit was refreshed. After swallowing the pill, she immediately sat down to meditate. She urged the vital energy in her body to drive the medicine through her meridians. 2 hours later, Fujiwara no Chiko opened her eyes. Now that she had completely absorbed the medicine, the poison should be gone. What happened after that? Yi Fan continued to ask. That means that the poison in your body should have been cured. How could, you're right. At that time, I really thought that the poison in my body was cured. Fujiwara no Chiko said. That day, not long after you left, Hattori Chixio woke up. He asked me about you. I told him that you used cold energy to hurt me and then left. At first, he didn't believe me until I showed him my arm. Arm? Yi Fan didn't understand what Fujiwara no Chiko meant. After you left, I put my arm into a pile of snow. In just a few minutes, it became red and swollen, Fujiwara no Chiko said calmly. That was the only way he would believe me. Yi Fan remained silent after hearing that. Just as we were about to leave the cave, I suddenly felt the vital energy and blood in my body churning. My stomach was in so much pain that I started to vomit blood. It was then that I realized that the poison in my body hadn't been cured. In fact, it was worse than before. Was there a problem with the pill? Yi Fan asked. At that time I thought so too, Fujiwara no Chiko said. Hattori Chixio was also shocked. He used his vital energy to temporarily suppress the poison in my body. After that, he told me that the poison in my body wasn't as simple as it seemed. Not only did his pill not cure the poison, it caused the poison in my body to go berserk, causing it to flare up earlier. So that's how it is. Yi Fan understood the whole story. If it's a blessing, it's not a curse. If it's a curse, it can't be avoided, Fujiwara no Chiko said calmly. When we were in the ancestral home, why did you deliberately let me hurt you? What were you afraid of? What did Hattori Chixio say to you before he left? Yi Fan voiced his doubts. When he left, he told me that the powerful force he sensed on the ship was nearby. In order to not expose my identity, I could only become your enemy, Fujiwara no Chiko explained. No wonder, Yi Fan said. It seems that the force Hattori Chixio was talking about is Kuju Junichiro. It should be him, Fujiwara no Chiko said. Alright, Yi Fan rose to his feet. It's getting late, so don't let your thoughts run wild. Have a good rest. We'll set off in 4 hours. Where are we going? Fujiwara no Chiko asked. Chapter 63. 4 hours later, Yi Fan extinguished the fire and helped Fujiwara no Chiko to the entrance of the cave. At this time, the sky was still dark, and the eastern sky was just beginning to turn white. Yi Fan carried the sword case on his back and once again carried Fujiwara no Chiko by her waist. This time, Fujiwara no Chiko was very cooperative and took the initiative to wrap her arms around Yi Fan's neck. Wife, hold tight. Your husband is about to fly. As Yi Fan spoke, he circulated his spirit energy and lightly tapped the ground with the tip of his foot, slowly flying into the air. Now that he had recovered 70% of the spirit energy in his body, he still felt very relaxed despite carrying a 70 to 80 kilograms sword case and holding Fujiwara no Chiko in his arms. The clouds above his head slowly floated by. Fujiwara no Chiko was no longer as surprised and flustered as she was at the beginning. Instead, she began to appreciate the beautiful scenery that no one else could see. Slow down. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yi Fan's face and said softly. What's wrong? Are you cold? Yi Fan looked down at Fujiwara no Chiko in his arms and asked. Fujiwara no Chiko shook her head. What's the matter? Yi Fan said as he stopped and floated in the air. Slow down. I want to see the scenery here. Fujiwara no Chiko slowly said. I don't have much time left. I'm afraid I won't be able to see it anymore. Nonsense. Yi Fan said as he circulated his spirit energy and flew forward again. I'm telling the truth. Fujiwara no Chiko whispered. Let's talk after we get rid of the poison in your body. Yi Fan looked at Fujiwara Chiko, who was breathing in his arms, and felt his heart ache. This scenery is nothing. After you get rid of the poison in your body, I'll accompany you to see the scenery of the Central Plains. Really? As soon as Fujiwara no Chiko said those words, she felt something sweet in her throat, and she suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Yi Fan's green robe was immediately dyed red. Chiko! Yi Fan cried out. It seems that I don't have time for you to accompany me to enjoy the scenery of the Central Plains. Fujiwara no Chiko's voice was getting softer and softer. Chiko! Yi Fan shouted Fujiwara no Chiko's name. You can't sleep, do you hear me? Fujiwara no Chiko slowly closed her eyes and lost consciousness. Chiko! Chiko! No matter how Yi Fan shouted, Fujiwara no Chiko did not respond. Burning with anxiety, Yi Fan saw this and immediately landed on a small mountain peak. He placed Fujiwara no Chiko on the ground. Now that Fujiwara no Chiko was deeply poisoned, they could only hurry to the Lingyun cave. However, flying at high altitudes was too cold. Fujiwara no Chiko's weak body could not withstand the cold. Yi Fan tore off the cloth wrapped around the scabbard on his back and used it to wrap Fujiwara no Chiko tightly. Only her head was exposed. Chiko! Yi Fan carried Fujiwara no Chiko by the waist and whispered into Fujiwara no Chiko's ear, You can't sleep, do you hear me? Wait for your hubby. As Yi Fan spoke, he suddenly activated the spirit energy in his body and concentrated all of it on his movement technique. In an instant, Yi Fan soared into the sky, leaving behind a shadow that soared into the sky. The journey that was supposed to take 2 hours only took Yi Fan 5 minutes under the control of his berserk spirit energy. By the time they reached Fengming Mountain, Yi Fan was already sweating profusely, and the cloth wrapped around Fujiwara no Chiko was already covered in a thick layer of white frost. Yi Fan descended and used the method that Xiao Zhao had taught him to open the stone door of the Lingyun cave. As soon as the stone door opened, Yi Fan rushed in with Fujiwara no Chiko in his arms. Brother Kim! Brother Kim! Xiao Zhao! Xiao Zhao! Yi Fan shouted loudly. As he shouted, he removed the cloth wrapped around Fujiwara no Chiko. Brother Yi! Xiao Zhao heard Yi Fan's voice and rushed down from upstairs. You're back, Brother Yi! Xiao Zhao was wild with joy when she saw Yi Fan. The fact that Yi Fan was able to arrive as promised proved that the Yi clan's calamity had been safely averted. However, what puzzled her was that Yi Fan's brows were tightly knitted, and he was carrying a beauty in his arms. Her eyes were tightly shut, and there was blood at the corner of her mouth. Brother Yi, this is... Xiao Zhao hurriedly asked. Don't ask about this for now, Yi Fan hurriedly said. Where's Brother Kim? Has Brother Kim returned? He's back. He's in the back garden, Xiao Zhao said. Quick, take me to see Brother Kim, Yi Fan said as he picked up Fujiwara no Chiko. Due to the urgency of the matter, Xiao Zhao did not say another word. She brought Yi Fan to the pavilion in the back garden. From afar, a pale-faced, scholarly man was standing in the pavilion, playing with an unknown bird. The bird had bright feathers and was pecking at the food in the pale-faced scholar's hands. When the bird saw a stranger walk in, it flapped its wings and flew away. When the pale-faced scholar turned around and saw Yi Fan, he first smiled faintly. However, when he saw Fujiwara no Chiko in Yi Fan's arms, he frowned slightly. Although this expression only lasted for a moment, Yi Fan saw it clearly. Brother Yi, this is... the pale-faced scholar asked as he walked towards Yi Fan. It seemed that this person was Brother Kim. Presumably, this pale-faced scholar was not Brother Kim's real body. Brother Kim, save her. Yi Fan placed Fujiwara no Chiko on the stone platform in the pavilion. This is... the pale-faced scholar asked. Brother Kim, it's a long story. Save her first. Yi Fan said anxiously. Okay. The pale-faced scholar responded as he walked towards Fujiwara no Chiko. He bent down and took Fujiwara no Chiko's pulse. She's been poisoned by a parasite. The pale-faced scholar asked Yi Fan as he took her pulse. Yi Fan nodded. It's indeed a parasite. Brother Kim, you must save her. The pale-faced scholar looked up at Yi Fan. After a moment, he stood up. I'll try. Thank you, Brother Kim, Yi Fan said happily. With Brother Kim's cultivation, curing this parasite was a cinch. Brother Yi, why are you still so polite? The pale-faced scholar said with a smile. You guys step back first. Yi Fan and Xiao Zhao immediately left the pavilion when they heard this. The pale-faced scholar stretched out his right palm and gently lifted it towards Fujiwara no Chiko. Fujiwara no Chiko immediately floated up and floated to the top of the stone table in the pavilion. The pale-faced scholar walked in front of Fujiwara no Chiko and directly pressed his palm on Fujiwara no Chiko's bihui acupoint on the top of her head. The pale-faced scholar's hand suddenly glowed with golden light. 5 rays of golden light flowed like water through Fujiwara no Chiko's bihui acupoint and into her body. In less than a cup of tea's time, Fujiwara no Chiko's complexion began to improve. Her deathly pale face began to turn rosy. Her body also gradually glowed with a golden light. The pale-faced scholar closed his eyes slightly. The golden light in his hand was endless. Fujiwara no Chiko, who was enveloped by the golden light, also began to react. Her fingers moved slightly. It seems that Chiko can be saved this time, Yi Fan thought to himself. However, just when he thought that Fujiwara no Chiko was about to recover, something unexpected happened. He saw the golden light on Fujiwara no Chiko's body rapidly return to the pale-faced scholar's palm. The pale-faced scholar's face was full of surprise. Brother Kim, how is she? Yi Fan asked anxiously. Inyang-gu. The pale-faced scholar removed his hand from Fujiwara no Chiko's head and said in surprise, I can't believe that there are still people in this world who raise this kind of goo. Brother Kim, what's going on? How is Chico? Yi Fan did not understand what had happened and asked anxiously. Brother Yi, the goo in her body is not an ordinary goo. It's a yin-yang goo, the pale-faced scholar said. I'm not afraid of Brother Yi laughing at me, but even I can't remove the goo in her body. Yi Fan was thunderstruck when he heard this. Even his brother Kim could not remove the goo in Chico's body, let alone Jinchan. Looking at the unconscious Fujiwara no Chico, Yi Fan felt as if a knife was twisted in his heart. His liver and intestines were cut into pieces. Brother Yi, you don't have to despair. Maybe there is a person who can remove this poison. The pale-faced scholar saw that Yi Fan's heart was like dead ashes and comforted him. The pale-faced scholar's words were like a ray of light illuminating the sky. Yi Fan heard it and suddenly looked up. Who is it? It is said that there is a detoxification master in Miaojiang. People call her Jinchan. Maybe she can remove this poison, the pale-faced scholar said. Jinchan, it's Jinchan again. Yi Fan felt a glimmer of hope in his heart. It seems that this Jinchan may really be able to save Chico. Big brother Jin, if even you can't save this lady, doesn't that mean golden silkworm granny? Xiao Zhao was as confused as Yi Fan. The pale-faced scholar hurriedly waved his hand after hearing this. Xiao Zhao, brother Yi, you don't understand, the pale-faced scholar said slowly. The sun and the moon move the sky, the river moves the earth. Everything in this world has its own rules of operation. No one is omnipotent, even De Luo Jin Xian is the same. Back then, Buddha had 3 days of headaches, let alone me. When it comes to fighting your brother Kim, I'm not afraid of anyone. Even if the emperor came, I wouldn't put him in my eyes. But when it comes to detoxification, I'm just an amateur. Is this yin-yang goo so powerful? Even brother Kim, you can't do anything? Yi Fan asked. This yin-yang goo is completely different from ordinary goo poison. It is said that this goo is first planted in the body of a man and a woman. The man is planted with a female goo, and the woman is planted with a male goo. The two are chosen to have intercourse, and then the liquid from intercourse is used to make this yin-yang goo. It is colorless and odorless, and is very powerful. The pale-faced scholar explained. This goo has yin and yang, one male and one female. During the day, the male goo is active, and the female goo is lurking. At night, the female goo is active, and the male goo is lurking. Once it breaks out, the pain will penetrate the bone marrow. This goo poison has been lost for hundreds of years. It is said that Hua Tuo was able to detoxify this goo, and wrote the detoxification method in the Green Bag book. Unfortunately, this book was burned by the jailer's wife after Hua Tuo gave it to him before he died. Brother Kim, just now Yi Fan asked. I just wanted to use spiritual power to open up her meridians. I planned to force the goo poison from her head to her feet, and then use silver needles to pierce the soles of her feet to draw out all the goo poison. The pale-faced scholar said. But later I found out that she was infected with the yin-yang goo. My spiritual power is pure yang qi. Although it can subdue the female goo, for the male goo it is counterproductive. Not only can it not subdue it, but it will also increase its strength. So I withdrew my spiritual power in time. Otherwise, once the male goo gets my spiritual power, coupled with the loss of the female goo, the male goo will go berserk in her body and instantly kill her. Brother Kim, is there no other way? Yi Fan asked. Miaojiang was so big that it was not easy to find a person, let alone Jinchan. He was afraid that there was not enough time, so Yi Fan wanted to know if there was any other way to cure Fujiwara no Chico. There is, but the risk is too high. The pale-faced scholar pondered for a moment and said, What's the way? Yi Fan asked. The most direct way to deal with this yin-yang goo is to choose before dawn or before dark, the moment when the yin and yang of heaven and earth intersect. At that time, one of the two goo worms gradually awakens, and the other is preparing to fall asleep. It is the weakest time of the two gu worms. At this time, if there are two masters with profound cultivation base, one yin and one yang, at the same time, they can inject their spiritual power into the body of the gu person. The yin master uses yin spiritual power to deal with the male gu, and the yang master uses pure yang spiritual power to deal with the female gu. The two-pronged approach can naturally eliminate the gu poison. However, the pale-faced scholar showed a difficult expression. But what? Yi Fan asked. These two masters must have the same mind and cultivation base. Otherwise, once the yin and yang are out of balance, not to mention that it will encourage one of the gu poison to go berserk, just the two spiritual powers will make the meridians of the gu person burst and die on the spot. The pale-faced scholar explained. Brother Kim has a pure yang body. As long as we can find a yin cultivator with similar cultivation base to Brother Kim, we should be able to detoxify this poison. Xiao Zhao said. Although she didn't like Yi Fan and was worried about the woman in front of her, she also felt sorry for Yi Fan. Nieching? Yi Fan suddenly remembered that Xiao Zhao once told him that in his previous life, other than his brother Kim, Eldritch also had two close friends, the Thousand Demon Hall's Hall Master Nieching and the 10,000 Immortals House's House Master Bai Xing. Since these two people were close friends with Eldritch, and Eldritch was Brother Kim's sworn brother, presumably the two of them were also good friends with Brother Kim. What was even rarer was that Nieching and Bai Xing should be cultivating yin technique. Xiao Zhao. When Yi Fan thought of this, he immediately asked her with wild joy, do Nieching and Bai Xing cultivate yin techniques? Can the two of them work together with Brother Kim to detoxify this gu poison? This. Xiao Zhao also didn't have any idea. She looked at the pale-faced scholar and didn't know how to answer. Brother Yi, I understand how you feel. However, Nieching cultivates in the Golden Core Great Tao. He takes the path of transcending tribulations and ascension. He doesn't cultivate in the dermic formulations of extreme yin. As for Bai Xing, although he cultivates in the dermic formulations of extreme yin and his strength is close to that of a ghost immortal, his strength is still not on the same level as mine, much less be telepathic, said the pale-faced scholar. Now we can only rely on Granny Golden Silkworm. Will Nieching's elixir work? Xiao Zhao asked after receiving the benefits of Nieching's elixir. No. The pale-faced scholar shook his head. From her pulse just now, there are already two types of elixirs working in her body. Although the first type of elixir restrains the male gu, it promotes the female gu, causing her gu poison to flare up in advance. The second type of elixir has a mild medicinal effect and complements yin and yang, so it can prolong her life for a few days. Fortunately, these two types of elixirs don't conflict with each other. If Nieching's elixir is added, I'm afraid it will backfire. Brother Kim, how much time does Chico have left? Yi Fan once again carried Fujiwara no Chico by the waist and prepared to immediately head to Miaojiang to find Jinchan. Normally, 7 days. The pale-faced scholar spoke the truth. I'll leave immediately, Yi Fan said as he carried Fujiwara no Chico and prepared to leave the cave. Wait a minute. The pale-faced scholar stopped Yi Fan. Are you going to carry her like this? Yi Fan looked at the pale-faced scholar and didn't understand what he meant. Brother Yi, you're really confused. The pale-faced scholar said. You leave her here first and let Xiao Zhao take care of her. When you find Jinchan, can't you bring her here? If you carry her like this, you have to look for someone and take care of her. Can you handle it? After Yi Fan heard this, he understood what was going on. He was too anxious and did such a stupid thing. If it weren't for Brother Kim's reminder, he would still carry Fujiwara no Chico to Miaojiang. Brother Kim is right, I was too confused. Yi Fan put down Fujiwara no Chico and said, Xiao Zhao, I'll have to trouble you these days. Brother Yi, you can rest assured that I will take good care of her. You go early and come back early. Xiao Zhao said. Brother Kim, this matter should not be delayed. I'll go first, Yi Fan said as he opened Fujiwara no Chiko's scabbard. He took out the Li-Fire sword and handed it to the pale-faced scholar. This time, the Yi family is out of danger. It's all thanks to you, Brother Kim. This Li-Fire sword will be given to Brother Kim. Brother Ye's habit of being polite still can't be changed. The pale-faced scholar took the Li-Fire sword and put it back into the scabbard again. What use do I have for this Li-Fire sword? I asked you to take it back because I don't want this thing to fall into the hands of thieves. Since it has been taken back, Brother Yi can use it for himself. The pale-faced scholar said, It's important to do the business first. You leave for Miaojiang now. Thank you, Jean. Yi Fan hadn't finished speaking when the pale-faced scholar waved his hand. Here it comes again. Yi Fan shook his head with a wry smile. Okay, the pale-faced scholar said, let's go. Yi Fan nodded. He turned around and went out of the cave. He used his movement skill, rose into the air, and went straight to Miaojiang. The pale-faced scholar looked at Yi Fan walking out of the cave and stood there in a daze. Brother Kim, Xiao Zhao said, is this woman? Chapter 64. After Yi Fan came out of the cave, he urged his spiritual energy to fly all the way in the direction of Miaojiang. At this time, the sky was already bright. The sharp-eyed people on the ground saw Yi Fan flying in the air and shouted, Look at the immortal! It attracted the attention of the passers-by. Some people even bowed down and kowtowed. Yi Fan smiled bitterly. If he was not in a hurry, he would not dare to fly in the air in broad daylight in front of everyone. 2 hours later, he had no choice but to land in a dense forest with few people. He did this with too much fanfare. If those people who were chasing Fujiwara no Chiko found his trace, it would inevitably lead to unnecessary trouble. After Yi Fan landed, he walked down the mountain. He came to a ready-made clothing store and bought a navy blue robe. He changed out of the blue robe with Fujiwara no Chiko's bloodstains. He did not throw away the long robe he had taken off. Instead, he wore it inside. The reason was simple. There were traces of Fujiwara Chiko's blood on it. He had hugged her while wearing this robe. Yi Fan did not know why, but he was very afraid. He was afraid that this robe would become his last thought. For changing his clothes, Yi Fan found an inn that was doing very well. No matter what, he had to ensure that he had enough stamina first. Without stamina, he would not be able to do anything. He had plenty of money on him, so he chose the best inn to stay in. During the day, he only did 3 things: eat, sleep, and practice his qi. When the sky was dark, he immediately went out and used his movement technique to fly in the air. He madly poured his spiritual energy all the way and used his movement technique to the extreme. It only took him 1 night to arrive at the Miaojiang area. After living in the most famous Miao family village, Yi Fan asked the old people here about the whereabouts of Jinchan. The people here were simple and honest, unlike the Han people where money was the most important thing. After asking more than a dozen old people, Yi Fan learned from them that although Jinchan had a strange temper, she was also kind-hearted. Miasma raged in Miaojiang, poisonous insects were rampant, and many people would use goo to harm people. Jinchan often dispelled the goo poison for kind-hearted people and did not accept a single cent. When she encountered someone who used the goo poison on others, Jinchan showed her ruthless side. It was said that anyone who used the goo poison on others by Jinchan ended up in a miserable state. What was even more mysterious was that no one had ever seen Jinchan's true face. Some of these old people said that Jinchan was an old woman with white hair and a youthful face. Some said that Jinchan was a middle-aged woman with a kind face. Some even said that Jinchan was actually a young girl. The only consistent thing was that Jinchan wore a bell bracelet on her right hand and a silver longevity lock around her neck. Longevity lock? Yi Fan suddenly remembered the silver lock that his grandfather, Yi Yun, had given him. There must be some connection between the two. How did Jinchan save you that year? Yi Fan asked. The person in front of her was the old man who said that Golden Silkworm Granny was a young girl. Back then, Golden Silkworm Granny had saved her once. The old man told Yi Fan that a year ago, he had a feud with someone because of a herbal medicine business. As a result, the other party became angry and asked a goo master to put a goo poison on him. Every day at noon, he felt like there were thousands of ants gnawing on his stomach. It was so painful that he was rolling on the ground. Several famous doctors who knew how to dispel the goo poison were invited, but they were also helpless. Just as his descendants were preparing for his funeral, a 17 or 18-year-old girl with a bamboo basket on her back and a silver lock on her neck came to ask for water. There was a dying person in the family, so the family did not take this girl seriously. After passing the water to the girl, they continued to take care of the old man. The strange thing was that the girl did not leave after drinking the water. Instead, she went directly to the old man and took out a bamboo flute made of green bamboo from the bamboo basket on her back. The old man's family members were very strange and did not understand what the girl wanted to do. Under the strange gaze of the family members, the girl put the bamboo flute to her mouth and blew it. The sound of the flute was clear and melodious, mellow and ethereal. It was even better than the chirping of the mountain larks. Everyone present was moved by the beautiful sound of the flute and became intoxicated. They even forgot about the dying old man in front of them. Just as everyone was immersed in the intoxicating sound of the flute, the sound of the flute suddenly became hurried. It was short and sharp. Only then did everyone wake up. However, the scene in front of them shocked everyone and made them retreat in fear. Countless yellow-brown ants crawled out of the old man's mouth, nose, ears, and even eyes. It made one's scalp tingle. After these ants crawled out, they lined up in a long line and crawled out of the old man's door as if they were intelligent. After seeing that no more ants crawled out of the old man's body, the girl's flute sound suddenly stopped. The dying old man suddenly stood up and spat out a mouthful of yellowish-brown acidic water. The stench was unbearable. Give him more water. He'll be fine after a few days of rest, the girl said as she put the bamboo flute into the bamboo basket on her back and turned to leave. Thank you, benefactor. The old man's eldest son was the first to recover. He knelt on the ground in front of the girl's back. May I know the name of the benefactor? As he knelt, the people around him immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Ha ha ha! A clear laughter came from afar. The girl did not turn around. Instead, she stretched out her right arm and shook it a few times. A string of golden copper bells swayed on her white lotus-like arm. The bells were crisp and pleasing to the ear. Silver lock, copper bell. At this time, everyone suddenly realized. Jinchan. Everyone present blurted out. After they finished speaking, they cried out Golden Silkworm Granny's name while constantly kowtowing. After the old man recalled this, his eyes were still filled with tears. If Grandma didn't save me, I wouldn't be able to live until now, the old man said while wiping his tears. Unfortunately, I was unconscious at that time and didn't see Grandma with my own eyes. Otherwise, I would have thanked her in person. Grandma? Yi Fan asked puzzledly. Didn't you say she was a little girl? Silly child, the old man smiled through his tears. Grandma is not immortal, how could she see her real body? And then? Do you know where Jinchan went? Yi Fan continued to ask. Later, I heard that the goo master who put the goo in me was besieged and gnawed by the ants that crawled out of my body in the middle of the night. His 2 arms were gnawed until only bones were left. He has become a cripple, the old man said. As for Grandma's whereabouts, I don't know. But don't worry, Grandma has always been in Miaojiang. It's just that you can't recognize her. Yi Fan frowned after hearing this. This Jinchan was elusive and often appeared with different faces. Miaojiang was so big, where could he find her? Although there were clues like the bronze bell and longevity lock, there were too many people who wore the bronze bell. As for the silver lock, it was even more difficult to find. He couldn't just rashly check someone's neck. Yi Fan suddenly felt that finding Jinshan was like finding a needle in a haystack. It was as difficult as ascending to heaven. After bidding farewell to the old man, Yi Fan returned to his residence and pondered. Looking at the silver lock in his hand, Yi Fan suddenly had an idea and came up with a plan. He immediately got up and went to a silver jewelry shop. Miao people wore silver jewelry, so there were a lot of silver jewelry shops here. After asking around, Yi Fan directly went to Miaojiang's most famous silver jewelry shop, Miao Yinlu. This Miao Yinlu was opened by Han people. Because Han people had many skilled craftsmen, the silver jewelry here was much more exquisite than the silver jewelry shops opened by other Miao people. After Yi Fan entered the shop, he directly asked the shop assistant to call the boss out. However, as the saying goes, a big shop bullies the customer. The shop assistant didn't pay much attention to Yi Fan until Yi Fan slapped a banknote worth 20,000 taels of silver on the counter. Only then did the shop assistant bow and take the banknote to the boss. After a while, a slightly chubby man of medium build walked out. His pair of small eyes were shining. At a glance, one could tell that he was a very shrewd businessman. After seeing Yi Fan, the chubby shopkeeper immediately smiled. "Sir, what do you want to buy?" The chubby shopkeeper was very polite. 20,000 taels of silver was not a small amount. It was equivalent to 2 years of profit of his shop. "I'm not buying anything," Yi Fan said as he took out the silver lock from his arms and handed it to the chubby shopkeeper. "This thing, do you know how to make it?" The chubby shopkeeper respectfully took the silver lock with both hands. After looking at it carefully, he said, "This is only an ordinary silver lock. The silver locks in my shop are much better than this in terms of both quality and style." "I want this," Yi Fan said. "And it has to be exactly the same. Even the scratches on it have to be exactly the same. Can you do it?" "This." The chubby shopkeeper looked at Yi Fan and then lowered his head to look at the silver lock in his hands. He didn't understand why Yi Fan wanted to do this. No matter how he looked at it, he felt that it was just an ordinary silver lock. Any silver lock in his shop was 100 times better than this. "If you can't do it, then forget it." Yi Fan stood up and prepared to take back the banknote and silver lock from the chubby shopkeeper's hands and go to another shop to look. "Sir, what are you saying?" the chubby shopkeeper said with a smile as he put the banknote into his arms. "My family's craftsmanship is famous. For goods like this, it is a piece of cake to make a copy." "That's good. Immediately work day and night. I need it urgently," Yi Fan said. "How much does sir want?" the chubby shopkeeper asked. "The weight of this silver lock is at most 1 tael, Yi Fan said. "I gave you 20,000 taels of banknote. I want you to make 10,000 of these silver locks for me. In 2 days I will come and pick up the goods." 10,000? 2 days? The chubby shopkeeper was shocked. "Can you give me a few more days? I need it urgently." 2 days at most, Yi Fan said. "Time is too tight." The chubby shopkeeper looked troubled. "Even if I have the craftsmen work day and night, they can only make 5,000 in 2 days. After hearing this, Yi Fan took out another banknote worth 10,000 taels of banknote and placed it on the table. "Do you have any other questions?" "This. Haha." The chubby shopkeeper looked at the banknote and beamed. "Don't worry, I will definitely finish this batch of goods in 2 days. That better be the case. Otherwise," Yi Fan said as he stretched out his right palm and pushed at the bronze golden toad on the counter. He released his spiritual energy and with a boom, the golden toad, which weighed several kilograms, instantly shattered. The chubby shopkeeper and the shop assistant at the counter were immediately scared out of their wits by the scene before them. They trembled like sieves. They didn't expect this young man to have such means. Yi Fan slowly walked out of Miao Yinlu under their fearful gazes. This was the effect he wanted. Only then would they be able to complete the orders with quality and quantity. Chapter 65. After Yi Fan left the Miao Yin brothel, he wandered around the street. His eyes were fixed on all kinds of women walking around. Whenever he saw a woman with a copper bell, he would immediately look at her neck. What disappointed him was that although there were many women wearing copper bells, they were all wearing the traditional silver ornaments of the Miao family on their necks. There were no silver locks of the Han dynasty. Yi Fan could not find her, but many of the Miao family ladies thought that Yi Fan had taken a fancy to them. They all blushed and started to secretly observe Yi Fan. After a whole day, Yi Fan wandered around the bustling market, but he still could not find Jinchan. After the sky turned dark, the market dispersed. Yi Fan returned to his residence with a worried expression. 2 days had passed, and there was still no news of Jinchan. His mind was filled with Fujiwara no Chiko's unconscious appearance. This made him lose his appetite. He made up his mind to go to the mountain where the Miao people often gathered herbs. If he was lucky, he might be able to find Jinchan. Early the next morning, Yi Fan woke up early and went to the mountain where the Miao people often gathered herbs. Most of the herb gatherers woke up very early so that they could gather the best herbs. After Yi Fan landed on the highest peak, he channeled his spiritual power to his eyes and looked into the distance. At this time, his eyesight was already very good. Coupled with the fact that he channeled his spiritual power to his eyes, he could clearly see every pebble within a radius of 10 miles, let alone people. However, after looking at dozens of Miao people who gathered herbs, he still could not find anyone who matched Jinchan's characteristic. Yi Fan watched for 2 whole hours. When most of the herb gatherers had returned, he then withdrew his spiritual power from his eyes. Sigh. Yi Fan let out a long sigh and sat on a big rock. It was already the 3rd day, and there was still no news. Now, he could only place his hopes on that silver lock. Just like that, another day passed. Yi Fan still couldn't find any trace of Jinchan. Seeing that there were only 3 days left, Yi Fan went straight to Miao Yin brothel. Miao Yin brothel's door was locked, and the sign outside the door read closed. Not good. Yi Fan was alarmed. This fat shopkeeper couldn't have absconded with the money, right? With that thought in mind, Yi Fan kicked the door of Miao Yin brothel, and the 2 huge iron doors fell to the ground with a loud crash. Who the F***ck dared to? The fat shopkeeper walked out of Miao Yin brothel with dark circles under his eyes while cursing. When he saw Yi Fan, he immediately put on a smile. You're here. Fortunately, the fat shopkeeper didn't run away. Otherwise, his plan would be ruined. How's the thing I asked for? Yi Fan asked. It'll be completed in another 2 hours. The fat shopkeeper smiled and said, I've cancelled all the orders for the past 2 days and hired dozens of craftsmen to work day and night. It's almost done. He took out a sample and handed it to Yi Fan. Take a look and see if you're satisfied with it. Yi Fan took the silver lock from the fat shopkeeper, then took out the silver lock that his grandfather Yi Yun gave him and put them together for comparison. It seemed that the fat shopkeeper had put in a lot of effort. The imitation of the silver lock was very close to the real thing. Whether it was the feel, weight, pattern, or even the tiny scratches on it, it was almost exactly the same. If Yi Fan didn't know about it in advance, he wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Well done. Yi Fan said, help me do one more thing. Go ahead, go ahead. The fat shopkeeper got up and poured a cup of fragrant tea and put it in front of Yi Fan. In the past 2 days, he had earned nearly 20,000 taels. Now that Yi Fan asked him to do something, it seemed that he must have earned a lot. In a while, you divide these 10,000 silver locks into 10 parts, each with 1,000 pieces. You arrange people to spread these 10 silver locks throughout the Miaojiang. Make sure that every village has at least 10 silver locks. Yi Fan said. This. The fat shopkeeper had a puzzled look. I don't understand what you mean. It's very simple, Yi Fan said. Distribute these 10,000 silver locks throughout the Miaojiang and give them to the children of the poor. It's free. It must be done within a day. After it's done, I will reward you. But, Yi Fan's face sank, if you don't deliver a single silver lock, don't blame me for not recognizing you. 10,000 silver locks for free? The fat shopkeeper was a little surprised. He had seen fools before, but he had never seen such a fool. Spending 30,000 taels to order silver locks and then giving them all away for free. If he wasn't a fool, what was he? Do as I say, don't ask anything else, Yi Fan said. When you give them away, you must make a big fuss. The bigger the better. Yes. The fat shopkeeper said, don't worry, I will do as you say. If anyone finds you and asks about me, tell them to find me here, Yi Fan said as he told the fat shopkeeper the location of his inn. There's no time to lose. Do it immediately. Yi Fan finished giving the instructions to the fat shopkeeper and got up to leave Miaoying brothel. After the fat shopkeeper sent Yi Fan out, he began to arrange this matter. After a while, 10 huge carriages stopped in the backyard of Miaoying brothel. Although the fat shopkeeper was obsessed with money, he was efficient in his work. He ordered people to load the 10,000 silver locks into the 10 carriages. In addition to arranging one of his trusted subordinates in each carriage, he also arranged 2 swona players, a drummer and a gong player. After everything was arranged, the musicians in the 10 carriages played music at the same time and went out of the door amidst the crackling sounds of firecrackers. After Yi Fan left Miaoying brothel, he came to a deserted path. He immediately used his body technique to float 1 foot above the ground and ran along the winding and rugged path. The place he wanted to go was the furthest place from Miaoying brothel in Miaojiang. He wanted to check if the fat shopkeeper's subordinates were clean and if they had secretly embezzled the good. If he could get the silver locks in the remote Miaoying village, he didn't have to worry about other places. Yi Fan walked and stopped. When he saw people, he would land and walk slowly. When he reached a deserted place, he would immediately continue using his body technique. After 4 hours, he arrived at the border of the Miao stockade village. As soon as he arrived, he heard the sound of gongs, drums, and swona from afar. It seemed like the carriage had just arrived. Yi Fan flew up and landed on a towering ancient tree that was more than 100 feet tall. The dense branches completely covered his body. Even if it was broad daylight, no one would notice him. He channeled his spiritual power to his eyes and saw the carriage driving into a Miaoying village from afar. After the carriage drove into the Miaoying village, it stopped at a spacious open space. At this time, the gongs, drums, and swona were playing happily. The villagers were simple and honest. They rarely saw such a lively scene. They gathered around to see what was going on. After playing the gongs, drums, and swona for a while, a strong man in Miaoying clothes jumped down from the carriage. Seeing that almost everyone had arrived, the strong man waved his hand and the gongs, drums, and swona immediately stopped playing. Dear villagers, I'm from the Silver Miao House. The strong man jumped on a big rock and said loudly to the crowd, Today, my shopkeeper Lu gave birth to a son. My shopkeeper is a kind person. Ever since I came to Miaojiang, it's all thanks to all of you. In order to thank all of you, my shopkeeper Lu specially ordered me to bring 1,000 silver lock. If you have a child under the age of 7, you can bring your child here to receive a silver lock from the Silver Miao House until you finish receiving the lock. After the strong man finished speaking, he jumped down from the big rock and climbed up the carriage. He pulled down the oilcloth covering the carriage and saw that the carriage was filled with countless silver locks. Under the illumination of the sun, the locks were shining with a silver light, making them look like shining white flowers. The strong man's words immediately caused the crowd to cheer. The crowd immediately dispersed like a tide, and returned home to carry their children. Those who did not have children or those whose children were over the age of 7 could not help but sigh. After a while, those who carried their children immediately rushed to the front of the carriage, fearing that the silver locks would be taken away. Don't push, line up. The strong man maintained order. More and more people carrying their children rushed over and joined the line. In a short time, the line was actually half a mile long. Seeing this scene, Yi Fan smiled and jumped down from the tree. This fat shopkeeper was indeed shrewd. Even so, he did not forget to flatter himself and take this opportunity to promote his shop's reputation. What a cunning fellow! Yi Fan smiled and used his movement technique to float in the direction he came from. After returning to the inn, it was already close to noon. Yi Fan sat on the bed and closed his eyes to rest after a simple meal. 4 days had already passed and there were only 3 days left. According to Miao Inlo's speed, the 10,000 silver locks should have already been distributed. This was because on the way back, Yi Fan heard countless commoners discussing this matter. They were talking about the distribution of silver locks. This matter had already spread to all the streets and alleys in Miaojiang. It had become the topic of conversation after meals. Now that Yi Fan's goal had been achieved, he only needed to wait for Jinshan to come to him. However, to Yi Fan's disappointment, he waited in the inn for a full 3 hours and no one came to look for him until the sun set. Yi Fan began to mutter in his heart. Could it be that the 10,000 silver locks did not attract Jinshan's attention? Or did Jinshan already leave Miaojiang? The more Yi Fan thought about it, the more upset he became. He got out of bed and prepared to go out for a walk. However, the moment he opened the door, the scene in front of him made him overjoyed. There was an old granny with a head full of silver hair sitting at the door. She was dressed in Miao clothing and her hair was wrapped in a coarse cloth. She held a tobacco pipe in her hand and a bamboo basket beside her. What made Yi Fan even happier was that the old granny was wearing a silver longevity lock around her neck. At this moment, the old granny was blowing out smoke and looking at Yi Fan with her eyes narrowed. Jinshan. Yi Fan blurted out. He did not expect Jinshan to be sitting outside his door without him knowing. He also did not expect that with his cultivation, he could not detect any movement from Jinshan. It seemed that Jinshan was really an expert. "You're looking for me?" the old granny asked. "How do you know about this silver lock?" The old granny's voice was full of energy. "This junior is indeed looking for you, but you're always elusive. This junior has no choice but to do this. I hope you don't take offense." Yi Fan bowed deeply and said, "As for this silver lock, this junior's grandfather gave it to me. He said that as long as I give it to you, you will understand everything." Yi Fan said as he respectfully handed the silver lock that his grandfather Yi Yun gave him to the old granny. The old granny reached out to take the silver lock that Yi Fan handed over and her eyes lit up. She put down the tobacco pipe and gently rubbed the silver lock with her wrinkled hand, as if it was a rare treasure. "It's been 30 years. I didn't expect him to still have this on him." The old granny's voice seemed to choke. She raised her head and looked at Yi Fan. "You're his grandson? This junior is Yi Fan. My father is Yi Kong. My grandfather is Yi Yun," Yi Fan said. Sigh. The old granny stood up and walked into Yi Fan's room with the bamboo basket. After entering the room, the old granny didn't hold back. She picked up the tea on the table and filled the teacup. "Is your grandfather well?" "Grandfather is very well," Yi Fan said as he closed the door and walked in front of the old granny. He didn't sit in front of the old granny. Instead, he stood beside the old granny. This was more polite. "Why did your grandfather ask you to find me?" "He actually gave this silver lock to you." After the old granny finished drinking the tea, she once again smoked her tobacco pipe. "Granny, please save someone," Yi Fan said. "Save someone?" the old granny suddenly asked nervously. "Save who? Didn't you say your grandfather is very well?" "It's not grandfather," Yi Fan explained. "It's someone else." "So it's like that." The old granny let out a sigh of relief. "I thought that old thing was sick." The old granny took a puff of her tobacco pipe and said, "Your grandfather is the head of the Yi family. He has friends all over the world. Saving someone is a small matter. Why did he suddenly think of an old granny like me? I'm afraid that other than you, there isn't a second person in the world who can cure this poison, Yi Fan said respectfully. The old granny calmly said, "What kind of poison is so powerful that it has to be me?" "Yin Yang Gu," Yi Fan said to the old granny. When the 3 words came out of Yi Fan's mouth, the old granny's hand holding the tobacco pipe suddenly stopped in midair. She turned her head and looked at Yi Fan. "Yin Yang Gu?" "Yes," Yi Fan replied. "Impossible." The old granny shook her head. "This Yin Yang Gu has been lost for many years. It's impossible for it to appear in the world." "It's indeed Yin Yang Gu," Yi Fan said. "It was poisoned in Japan." "Japan?" The old granny frowned. "That's possible. But since someone can tell that it's Yin Yang Gu, he must be an expert. Why can't he cure it? To be honest, the person who can tell that it's Yin Yang Gu is my sworn brother." "However," Yi Fan said, "he can't do anything about it." "Who's the poisoned one? A man or a woman?" the old granny asked. "The poisoned one is a friend of mine," Yi Fan said. "A woman? Friend? Is she very important to you?" the old granny asked. "It's very important. Granny, please help me." Yi Fan knelt on the ground with a thump. "Child, get up quickly." The old woman helped Yi Fan up. "Since it's an old friend who's begging for help and you're so sincere, I naturally won't just stand by and watch. Where is he now? Has the goo poison acted up?" "She's thousands of miles away from here. The goo poison has acted up for 4 days. Grandfather used Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Master Zhang's Foundation fortifying pill to save his life. There are still 3 days left," Yi Fan said. "Thousands of miles away?" The old granny frowned. "Don't worry about that. I'll carry you there. It'll take 1 night at most," Yi Fan said. 1 night. The old granny was shocked when she heard Yi Fan's words. "You have such a fast movement technique?" "Granny, you don't know this. I was taught the flying technique by a strange person by chance. It's not difficult for me to travel thousands of miles," Yi Fan said. "No wonder I felt that your aura was different from ordinary people. You have such good fortune. That's easy." The old granny took out a palm-sized bamboo tube from the bamboo basket as she spoke. The old granny opened the stopper and the room was immediately filled with a strange fragrance. After opening the stopper, the old granny poured out a green leaf and handed it to Yi Fan. "Take this with you. No matter where you go, I'll be able to find you." Yi Fan took the emerald green leaf with a puzzled expression. He did not understand what Granny Golden Silkworm was trying to do. "Granny, what are you?" Yi Fan asked. "We'll leave tonight," Madame Golden Silkworm said to Yi Fan. "You can only use your soaring technique to travel with the celestial silkworm leaves. I can't take it anymore. Find someone to carry me in a palanquin." "Carry you in a palanquin?" Yi Fan asked in confusion. "When will we get there?" Chapter 66. That night. The sky was full of stars. "Grandma, are we leaving now?" Yi Fan stood in front of the window and looked at the stars in the sky. "No hurry, let's wait until late at night." As Granny Golden Silkworm spoke, she took out a stick of incense that was as thick as a thumb and a few pieces of red paper from the bamboo basket. Unlike ordinary incense, this stick of incense was completely black, but the end was red. "Grandma, you are..." Yi Fan didn't know what Jinchan was going to do. "Find someone to carry me," Jinchan said as she picked up a piece of red paper and folded it. "The sedan bearers will be here soon. I will make a pair of shoes for them to wear." Jinchan's phone was very dexterous. As she spoke, she made a pair of boots with the red paper in her hand. The boots were folded very delicately. It was the same size as a real person's boot. Paper boots? Yi Fan found it a little strange. If a person were to wear these boots while traveling, wouldn't they be torn apart? Jinchan didn't even raise her head. She continued to be busy, folding another pair of boots. At the same time, she said something that shocked Yi Fan. Who said it's for people to wear? Yi Fan, who was shocked, suddenly realized. It seemed that Jinchan was not only proficient in the art of Chinese medicine, but she was also good at Miaojiang witchcraft. He once heard his grandfather Yi Yun tell him that Miaojiang witchcraft originated very early. Since there were human beings, there was witchcraft. Witchcraft believed that everything in the world had a spirit and advocated the power of nature. A big tree, a mountain, a river, and even a small stone would be considered to contain spirituality. Simply speaking, witchcraft was the technique that people used to communicate with everything in the world. From the word witchcraft, it could be seen that the upper horizontal line represented the sky, the lower horizontal line represented the earth. The two people in the middle were worshipping around the vertical line. The vertical line represented smoke. The smoke rose from the earth and reached the sky. It could convey one's wishes to the gods. His grandfather told him that he should never underestimate witchcraft. The origin of witchcraft was even earlier than the origin of Tao technique. For thousands of years, Miaojiang's witchcraft had already formed its own school, and it was very powerful. In the future, if he were to meet the Miao people, he must be careful. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Just as Yi Fan was thinking, Madame Golden Silkworm finished folding the red paper boot. After Jinchan folded the paper boots, she picked up the black incense and lit it with the candle on the table. Suddenly, the room was filled with the choking smell of herbs. Yi Fan looked at Jinchan's serious expression and knew that she was casting a spell, so he didn't dare to disturb her. Granny Golden Silkworm stuck the incense stick into the ground in the room before sitting back down on the chair. Don't be afraid of anything you see or hear later. Don't make a fuss, understand? Jinchan picked up a piece of red paper on the table and folded it. Otherwise, it would be disrespectful to them. I understand, Granny. Yi Fan knew who Jinchan was talking about. Aren't you afraid? Jinchan was busy with her work while looking at Yi Fan. I'm not afraid, Yi Fan said. This was the truth. A few days ago in the Yi family's ancestral house, he had seen enough. 100 ghosts, fox demons, walking corpses, these things were not strange to him now. Good boy, you have some courage, Jinchan said. You are like your grandfather. In the blink of an eye, a palm-sized red paper palanquin was folded by Jinchan. The roof of the palanquin, the curtain of the palanquin, everything was ready. After doing all this, Granny Golden Silkworm took out her tobacco pipe and started smoking. In less than the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the flame on the candle in the room suddenly trembled. The originally orange flame suddenly turned into a faint blue flame. It actually rose more than half a foot high. In an instant, the whole room became dark blue. With the addition of the red paper shoes and paper palanquin, the atmosphere was very strange. They're here. Jinchan blew out a mouthful of smoke. As soon as Jinchan's voice fell, Yi Fan, with his sharp hearing, heard the sound of wind in the distance. The sound of the wind was getting closer and closer, rushing towards them. Stay behind me, don't let the yin qi affect your body, Jinchan said. Okay. Yi Fan agreed as he walked behind Jinchan. In fact, there was no need. Yi Fan was now a half-immortal. Not to mention ordinary ghosts, even demons with some cultivation would have to think twice if they wanted to touch Yi Fan. Jinchan also knew about Yi Fan's cultivation. She let Yi Fan do this. Rather than saying that she was afraid that the yin qi would affect Yi Fan, it was better to say that she was afraid that Yi Fan would startle the guests. One must know that Yi Fan's body had an extremely tyrannical pure yang spiritual energy flowing around. Ordinary ghosts would have to retreat when they saw it. Yi Fan had just arrived behind Jinchan when the gust of wind arrived in front of the door. When it arrived in front of the door, it immediately quieted down. The sound of the wind also disappeared. Do, do, do. The sound of knocking came from outside the door. Come in. Jinshan took a puff of her cigarette and said, "Creak." The door opened. A cold wind blew into the room. What surprised Yi Fan was that there was no one outside the room. "I'm going on a long journey. You two brothers have worked hard," Jinshan said. "Put on your boots and prepare the palanquin." Then, a strange scene occurred. The two pairs of red paper boots actually slowly floated to the ground. Then, as if someone was wearing them, they walked out of the door one after the other. The red paper palanquin also floated out of the door. "Let's go," Jinshan said as she stood up and walked out of the door. Yi Fan responded and followed Jinshan out of the room. After leaving the room, Yi Fan was shocked to find that the palm-sized paper palanquin had become as tall as a person. It was as tall as a real palanquin. "You lead the way in front." Jinshan lifted the curtain of the palanquin and said to Yi Fan, "They follow behind." After saying that, she entered the palanquin. After hearing this, Yi Fan didn't say anything else. He activated the spiritual energy in his sea of qi and used the flying technique. The tips of his feet touched the ground, and he leaped into the air, floating motionlessly. "You two brothers follow him," Jinshan said from inside the palanquin. As soon as she finished speaking, the red palanquin began to slowly lift off the ground and flew up slowly. It actually rose to the same height as Yi Fan. This Miaojiang witchcraft is indeed not simple. Yi Fan looked back and sighed in his heart. At this moment, the curtain of the palanquin opened and Jinshan leaned out. "Good boy, your movement technique is not bad." Jinshan smiled and said, "Come, come, come. Let's compete with my palanquin. I want to see if you're faster than my palanquin." After saying that, she lowered the curtain of the palanquin. "Deference is no substitute for obedience," Yi Fan said as he activated his movement technique and rushed forward. A green shadow rushed into the sky. The idea of competing in speed was exactly what Yi Fan wanted. He couldn't wait to rush to Phoenix Cry Mountain's Lingyun Cave and see Fujiwara no Chico, who he missed day and night. "Chase," Jinshan said excitedly in the palanquin. After the red palanquin received the order, it immediately shot out like an arrow. A red light rushed towards Yi Fan. Yi Fan, who was rushing in front, turned around to take a look. The red palanquin was extremely fast. Two pairs of red paper boots, one in front and one behind, walked with a strange footwork. They gradually caught up to him and ran side by side with him. "Kid," Jinshan's excited voice came from the palanquin, "how is it? Is it okay? Can you be any faster?" Yi Fan smiled after hearing this. He was only using 20% of his spirit energy. He was afraid that if he was too fast, Jinshan wouldn't be able to keep up with him. It seemed that he had really underestimated this palanquin. He didn't know what was carrying the palanquin. As Yi Fan thought about it, he suddenly increased his spirit energy to 40%. He, who was originally a green shadow, instantly turned into a faint shadow. With a schwa sound, he left the red palanquin far behind. "Oh, you're quite capable." Jinshan stuck her head out and looked at Yi Fan's disappearing figure and said, "You two brothers, bring out your abilities. You don't have to worry about whether I can take it or not, just give chase. I really don't believe that I can lose to this little kid." After the red palanquin received the order, it immediately shone with a bright red light. The speed of the boots immediately doubled, and a red light flashed by. Yi Fan, who was in front, used his movement technique as he turned his head to look at the red light that was following him from afar. Yi Fan could not help but snicker. This Jinshan was really childish. At this speed, he would be able to reach Fengming Mountain in at most 4 hours. He deliberately slowed down his body, and when the red palanquin was about to catch up to him, he suddenly sped up and distanced himself from it. Just like this, Yi Fan used 60% of his spirit energy in the end, and a green light rushed forward. The red palanquin followed closely behind. The two maintained a distance of 30 meters and did not accelerate any further. This was because Yi Fan saw that because the red palanquin was too fast, it had already been blown out of shape by the strong wind. He was afraid that if he increased his speed, the palanquin would scatter in the air, and that would not be worth it. Thinking of this, he slowed down and walked side by side with the red palanquin. "Good boy, you really have some skills." Jinchan stuck her head out of the palanquin. "Looks like I have to get a stronger palanquin next time." After Yi Fan heard this, he also laughed. "That's right, otherwise this palanquin will scatter. At that time, I can only carry you on my back." "Ha ha ha!" Jinchan laughed. "You child." The two of them were chatting and laughing in the air when the red palanquin suddenly slowed down. In the end, it actually stopped. "Grandma, what's going on? Why did you stop?" Yi Fan stopped in his tracks and asked. Jinchan's face was also filled with suspicion. She lifted the curtain of the palanquin and asked, "What's going on?" The pair of red paper boots in front of the palanquin quickly walked in front of Jinchan. It seemed like they were talking to Jinchan. "You're haunting me." Jinchan's face was filled with anger. "Grandma, what happened?" Yi Fan asked. Seeing that they would reach Feng Ming Mountain in another hour, Yi Fan did not understand what had happened. "My nemesis is here," Golden Silkworm Granny said. "Stand behind me first." "Who?" Yi Fan asked. "Who dares to block your way?" "Gu King Wu Du," Jinchan said coldly. "Gu King Wu Du?" Yi Fan had never heard of this person's name. Jinchan was just about to answer when she saw a black cloud floating towards them. In the black cloud there was a black palanquin which looked very strange. "Fan Air!" Jinchan hurriedly shouted. "Quickly come into the palanquin, quickly!" Yi Fan did not dare to delay. He lifted the curtain of the palanquin and lowered his head to enter the palanquin. This palanquin was very wide, more than enough to accommodate two people. "Grandma, who is this Wu Du?" Yi Fan opened the curtain in front of the palanquin slightly. It seemed that this person did not come with good intentions. He actually knew the cloud riding technique. However, he was definitely not a good person. How could the righteous path ride a black cloud? Yi Fan channeled his spiritual power to his eyes and tried to look into the distance. This look was fine, but what he saw made his scalp go numb. He immediately closed the curtain of the palanquin. "What's wrong?" Jinchan asked with a smile. "What did you see?" Chapter 67. Granny is here, don't be afraid. Jinchan said as she took out the tobacco pipe from the bamboo basket beside her and handed it to Yi Fan. "Child, take a puff." "This." Yi Fan took the tobacco pipe with a puzzled face. He did not understand why Jinchan let him smoke at this moment. "Granny, what are you doing?" Yi Fan asked. "Don't worry, Granny won't harm you," Jinchan said. "Come, take a puff." Yi Fan could not persuade Jinchan, so he could only put the tobacco pipe into his mouth with a suspicious face and took a small puff. Cough, cough, cough. The choking smoke went straight to his throat, and Yi Fan coughed violently. Jinchan smiled mysteriously, and she rolled up the curtain in front of the red sedan, and their field of vision suddenly widened. At this time, the black cloud carrying the black sedan was less than a li away from them, and the buzzing sound of countless insects flapping their wings came from the air. Yi Fan only felt his scalp go numb after hearing it, and his body was suddenly covered with goosebumps. He was not afraid of anything since he was young, but he was afraid of insects, especially insects with many hands and legs, and every time they saw him, he would stay far away from them. Now that he saw thousands of densely packed locusts, it would be strange if Yi Fan was not afraid. Jinchan saw the other party coming menacingly, and immediately took out a piece of red paper and a pair of delicate scissors from the bamboo basket. After taking them out, Jinchan chanted, and the scissors in her hand shuttled back and forth, and after a while, a lifelike swallow appeared in her hand. After chanting the spell, she raised her hand, and the paper swallow in her hand actually flapped its wings and flew into the air by itself. Yi Fan was stunned by this strange scene. If the pair of red paper boots could move by itself, he could understand, after all, there was an invisible person wearing it. However, this lifeless paper swallow was like a real swallow. It flew up like a real swallow. This was far beyond Yi Fan's imagination. It seemed that Miaojiang's witchcraft was not simple. Just as Yi Fan was thinking about this, he suddenly saw the flying swallow open its mouth slightly and begin to chirp. Their cries were exactly the same as those of ordinary swallows, perhaps even louder. "Granny, this..." Yi Fan could not help but ask. "This swallow, with the King of Yan's help this time, we will definitely be able to break the flying locust array of the Gu King Wu Du," said Jinshan with a smile. "Just wait and see. A good show?" Yi Fan looked at the King of Swallow, that was calling out loudly in midair. He couldn't help but have doubts in his heart. How could a small paper swallow fight against the black mass of locusts? Who would believe that? However, what happened next made Yi Fan finally understand what Jinshan meant. Following the high-pitched chirping of the paper swallow, the chirping of countless swallows could be heard not far behind them. It sounded like there were no less than 10,000 swallows flying towards them. Yi Fan lifted the curtain on the side of the sedan chair and stuck his head out to take a look. He was immediately dumbfounded. In the distance, he saw a dense mass of black and white swallows flying in flock. They were chirping as they flew towards them. The flock of swallows was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they were in front of the King of Yen and hovered behind him. Only the sound of flapping wings could be heard incessantly. When Yi Fan saw this scene, he was so shocked that he could not say a word. It was said that Miaojiang's witchcraft could not only communicate with ghosts and gods, but could also control birds and beasts. It seemed that it was true. He looked at the black mass of swallows, and the anxiety he had just now disappeared without a trace. Instead, he felt a great sense of security. At this moment, the black cloud on the opposite side also stopped in front of the red sedan. The buzzing of tens of thousands of flying locusts made people shudder. "I say, little junior sister, why are you in such a hurry in the middle of the night? Where are you going?" With a strange voice, the curtain in front of the black palanquin was lifted. A middle-aged man with a green scarf coiled around his head and a green miao robe appeared in front of them. This person's face was pale, his body was thin, and his pair of vicious eyes shone with a cold light. What was even more chilling was that this person had a green python coiled around his body. After the python coiled around his waist a few times, its upper body and triangular head stood on his shoulder. Its pair of brown eyes stared coldly at Yi Fan and Jinshan who were opposite it. It spat out its tongue from time to time. "Junior sister? This Gu King Wu Du and Jinshan are actually from the same sect?" Yi Fan thought in his heart. No wonder the other party was also sitting in a sedan. "Who is your little junior sister?" Jinshan said sternly. "Master expelled you from the sect decades ago, and you still dare to boast shamelessly and call me junior sister? TSK, TSK, TSK. The middle-aged man in the black sedan shook his head. "So many years have passed, but junior sister, your temper is still so bad," the middle-aged man said with a smile. "If it wasn't for that Yi guy who stirred things up back then, I would have already taken the position of sect master, and you would have already become the wife of the sect master." "Humph," Jinshan sneered. "You still have the face to say that? If it wasn't for Yi Yun exposing your true colors back then, my master and I would still be in the dark." "Don't make it sound so unpleasant," the middle-aged man said as he stroked the green python that was already pressed against his face. "After I become the sect master, you will naturally be the wife of the sect master. You and I are a perfect pair, wouldn't it be the envy of others? Master is old, so what's wrong with me letting him abdicate in advance and enjoy the rest of his life?" "What a load of nonsense," Jinshan said angrily. "You coveted Master's witchcraft green sorcery sutra, and tried in vain to cultivate to heaven sorcery. You also wanted to seize the position of sect master, so you secretly used an evil technique to put goo on Master's meditation mat. If it wasn't for Yi Yun who discovered it, Master would have been killed by you. That's right, I did want to obtain the Green Sorcery Sutra, and I did put goo on Master's meditation mat. However, I didn't want to harm Master. I just wanted him to abdicate, the middle-aged man said. As for you, I'm sincere. All right. Jin-chan waved her hand. Let's not talk about the past. What do you want by following me around like a ghost? She did not want to be entangled with him any longer. All right. Let's talk business first. The middle-aged man pointed at Yi Fan in the sedan and said, Hand him over to me, and I'll leave immediately. Yi Fan secretly frowned when he heard this. He did not understand why the person in front of him was looking for trouble with him. Him? Jin-chan glanced at Yi Fan. What do you want him for? I'm sure you already know who he is? The middle-aged man asked. I do, Jin-chan answered. Since you know, why are you still helping him? The middle-aged man said. Why don't you hand him over to me and let me deal with him? Hand him over to you? Jin-chan asked. Why should I hand him over to you? Why can't I help him? Junior sister, have you forgotten? Back then, Yi Yun heartlessly abandoned you for the position of head of the family, causing you to be alone until now. The middle-aged man said. Now that his grandson is by your side, why don't you and I kill him? You take your revenge, and I'll relieve my hatred. After Yi Fan heard this, he understood 70 to 80% of it. It seemed that this Jin-chan and his grandfather, Yi Yun, had a relationship before. Later on, in order to become the head of the family, his grandfather had no choice but to break off this relationship with Jin-chan. As the saying goes, those who are not of our race are bound to have different hearts. The Yi clan had an ancestral rule that the leader of the Yi clan could only marry Han Chinese. He was not allowed to marry someone from outside the clan. Since then, Wu Du had harbored a grudge against Yi Yun. Not only did he not obtain the position of head of the sect and was expelled from the sect by his master, he also lost the heart of his junior sister. Now that he saw the son of his enemy, the new and old grudges made Wu Du want to kill him. Ai. Jin-chan sighed. Let bygones be bygones. You and I are already so old, what's the point of remembering these old and new grudges? Besides, how can the previous generation's matters be blamed on this generation's child? Back then, Yi Yun left you a letter and left in a huff. You cried for 3 days and 3 nights, crying until you shed tears of blood. Junior sister, have you forgotten all of this? Wu Du said with grief and indignation. You and I were childhood sweethearts. Later on, we both became apprentices. If that heartless person did not appear, our child would be as old as him now. I, Wu Du, am indeed greedy, but I am absolutely loyal to you. For so many years, I have been alone. Apart from you, there is no one else in my heart. Wu Du said emotionally. Senior brother, don't say any more. Jin-chan said with a frown. The matter of the past once again appeared in her mind, and also once again pierced her heart. Junior sister, listen to me. Kill this person, then the two of us will fly far away. From then on, we will live in seclusion and no longer care about worldly affairs, Wu Du said. No, what happened back then has nothing to do with this child, Jin-chan said. You cannot kill him, and I will not go with you. You are still thinking about that heartless person? Wu Du was agitated as he asked hatefully. No. Jin-chan lowered her head and said. No? Ha 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 ha. Wu Du looked up to the sky and laughed with grief and indignation. There were tears in his laughter. If you are not junior sister, why are you still wearing that silver lock he gave you? Jin-chan was choked by Wu Du's words and could not say a word. Today I must kill him. Wu Du's anger soared to the sky. As he spoke, he raised a palm with one hand and made a gesture of preparation. Instantly, the eyes of the flying locusts that filled the sky around him turned red. Within the black clouds, countless pairs of blood-red eyes stared greedily at the person in the red palanquin. Blood locust array? Not good. As Jinshan said this, she said to the paper swallow above her head, King Yen, I will leave this to you. Be careful. When the red paper swallow heard this, it immediately raised its head and chirped loudly. Its voice was so sharp that it caused Yi Fan's ears to ring. After the King Yen chirped, the tens of thousands of swallows behind him also chirped at the same time. In an instant, the sound was deafening and majestic. Junior sister, don't force me! Wu Du shouted loudly. Senior brother, you can't touch this child, Granny Golden Silkworm said firmly. All right, then I will not hold back. Once Wu Du finished his hand gesture, the tens of thousands of locusts around the black palanquin immediately let out a scalp-numbing hissing sound. Their blood-red eyes stared like countless hail as they rushed towards the red palanquin opposite. Chapter 68. Following Jinshan's words, the red paper swallow in mid-air let out an extremely high-pitched chirp. It looked up to the sky and its chirp reached the heavens. It gave an order to the countless black swallows behind it. When the swallows in mid-air heard the King of Yan's order, they instantly became excited. Like thousands of arrows, they roared and rushed towards the countless blood locusts. The swallows started to attack. In an instant, they covered the sky and the sun. Under the lead of a few blood locusts, the blood locusts' formation was extremely fast. They were like a sharp dagger as they rushed towards the swallows' formation. On the other hand, the formation of the swallows was lined up in a straight line and pressed forward like an avalanche. The two camps collided with each other like two huge black clouds. In an instant, the terrifying hissing of the flying locusts, the high-pitched chirps of the swallows, and the crackling sounds of collisions were incessant. Although the flying locusts were smaller than the swallows, the number of locusts was several times that of the swallows. In addition to the sharp formation, when the two camps clashed, the flying locust's formation was like a sharp knife that rushed into the center of the swallows. Yi Fan was so shocked that he was tongue-tied and dumbfounded. He had never seen such a shocking scene in his life. This Miaojiang's witchcraft was indeed as unique as his grandfather said. It was not inferior to Taoist spells. Ha 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 ha! Wu Du in the black sedan laughed out loud. The flying swallow formation is only SOSO. Junior sister, it's not too late to change your mind. At this moment, the flying locust's formation had completely rushed into the center of the swallows. It looked completely unstoppable. Granny! Granny! Yi Fan saw this scene and said anxiously. At this moment, he was very worried about the safety of the swallows. Hee. Jinshan smiled and continued smoking her ebony tobacco pipe. Silly boy, watch carefully. The best part is yet to come. As Jinshan spoke, she knocked the pole of the sedan chair with the tobacco pipe. Go up and take a look. Just as she finished speaking, the two pairs of paper boots at the front and back of the red sedan chair pointed and the paper sedan chair suddenly rose 30 feet. It flew directly behind the red paper swallow. Madame Golden Silkworm pointed downwards with her pipe and said, Come and see. When Yi Fan heard this, he looked down in confusion. That one look was fine, but he immediately saw some clues. The swallows did not seem to be eager to fight. Instead, they purposely avoided the flying locust formation's sharp edge and deliberately opened up a gap in the formation. Could it be? Yi Fan exclaimed. Hee. Jinshan laughed and blew out a smoke ring. Since the King of Yen is here personally, how can we not win? Just as all the blood locusts of the flying locust formation had charged into the Yen formation, the King of Yen in front of the red palanquin immediately cried out again. His voice was twice as loud as before. Hee, Jinshan laughed. Here comes the show. Following the King of Yan's order, the swallows immediately changed their formation. The swallows on both sides of the formation immediately drew an arc in the air and moved towards each other. Like a pocket, they surrounded the flying locusts that had completely charged into the center of the formation. As expected, what a profound scheme! What a brilliant tactic! He was indeed the king of Yen. Avoiding the sharp edge, cutting off the retreat, and surrounding and destroying them. Yi Fan sighed in his heart. It was said that man was the spirit of all living things. However, in front of the power of nature, man's power seems so insignificant. Take the current situation as an example. His snake shadow sword might be able to split gold and jade, or perhaps freeze everything within a radius of 100 feet. However, if he faced the flying locust formation and the flying swallow formation, he would have no chance of winning. This reminded him of the most famous saying in Taoism: man follows earth, earth follows heaven, heaven follows Tao, Tao follows nature. The swallows that had completely surrounded the flying locust formation revealed their true colors. All the swallows quickly shrank the encirclement and cried out as they launched a general attack. The swallows that were crying out loudly made use of their advantage in size and speed to pounce towards the center of the encirclement. The flying locust formation that had been unstoppable earlier was instantly thrown into chaos. Under the vicious biting of the swallows, countless flying locust formation were torn to pieces. For a moment, the flying locust formation screamed incessantly. Their corpses fell from the sky like rain. When the leading blood locust saw that things were not going well, it immediately let out a cry. Immediately, all the blood locust formation flew upwards, wanting to escape the encirclement. However, the swallows seemed to have known that the flying locust formation would do this. Just as they were preparing to fly upwards, the swallows changed their formation. They were like the waves of the sea, rising layer by layer. Like a wave, they formed an iron wall above the flying locust formation. It was like a pocket that surrounded the flying locust formation. The swallows were extremely fast. They quickly wrapped around the pocket like a ball, surrounding tens of thousands of flying locust formation. Hiss! 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 Countless flying locust formations screamed from within. In the black palanquin, the smile on Wu Du's face disappeared. His face was filled with disbelief. All of this happened too suddenly. The flying locust formation that had been unstoppable earlier had now become a turtle in a jar. Master's Green Shaman Sutra was indeed worthy of its reputation. If Yi Yun had not interrupted his plans back then, the Green Shaman Sutra would have fallen into his hands. Looking at the flying locust formation surrounded by the swallows, and then at the smiling Yi Fan in the palanquin opposite, Wu Du's face turned green and white. He wanted to swallow Yi Fan alive. I, Wu Du, am not as skilled as you, Wu Du said as he lowered the curtain. Let's go. At this time, Yi Fan saw that there were two pairs of paper boots at the front and back of the black palanquin. They were exactly the same as Jinchan's. However, Jinchan's paper boots were red while Wu Du's were black. The black boots moved back and forth. The black palanquin turned around. Wait a moment, Jinchan said to Wu Du, who was preparing to leave. Wu Du's black palanquin stopped. You have already won. What more do you want? Wu Du's voice came from the black palanquin. Jinchan did not answer him. Instead, she said to the red paper swallow in front of her, King of Yen, let's call it a day. When the blood-red paper swallow heard Jinchan's words, it turned its head and looked straight at Jinchan. It did not move for a long time. Although it was just a paper swallow, Yi Fan could feel the empty and cold gaze of the red paper swallow. King of Yen, Jinchan said, forgive people whenever possible. When the red paper swallow heard Jinchan's words, it turned its head. After a while, it made a crisp sound. The swallows were in the midst of killing. However, when they heard the King of Yan's order to stop attacking, they immediately stopped their fierce attacks. They opened up a hole in the encirclement and released the swarm of flying locusts that were on the verge of death. After the flying locust swarm came out, They immediately reorganized their formation and did not fall down. The leading red flying locust was now covered in green blood. Its pair of blood-red eyes stared fiercely at the group of swallows opposite it. "All right," Wu Du said from the black palanquin, "all of you, come back." After hearing the order, the flying locust swarm turned around and flew back to the black palanquin. The leading red locust glared fiercely at the King of Yen behind the swallows, then turned around and returned to the camp. In this battle, the flying locust swarm suffered heavy losses. Almost half of their numbers were killed by the swallows. "Junior sister, you can protect him for now, but you can't protect him forever. Today I'm not as good as him, so I'll let this brat live for a few more days. But junior sister, remember this, sooner or later, I, Wu Du, will personally take the heads of these 3 people. I mean what I say. If you continue to be so stubborn, you will regret it in the future." Jin Chan said seriously. "Regret? Humph," Wu Du laughed coldly. "I only regret that I was not skilled enough. Otherwise, how could I be where I am today?" As Wu Du spoke, he activated the black palanquin and led the countless flying locust swarm to gradually disappear into the horizon. Looking at the disappearing black palanquin, Jin Chan let out a long sigh and shook her head. "Thank you, King of Yen." After Jin Chan sighed, she cupped her hands and said to the paper swallow in the air. The red paper swallow looked back at Granny Golden Silkworm and let out a soft cry as a response. Then, it let out a loud cry that was crisp and long. After that, the dense flock of swallows immediately lined up in a long line and returned in an orderly manner according to the original route they had taken. With a loud bang, the red paper swallow in the air immediately burned and turned into a pile of ashes. "Farewell, King of Yen," Jin Chan said to the air. "Granny," Yi Fan looked at the burning paper swallow and said, "Is the King of Yen unhappy?" "That's right," Jin Chan said to Yi Fan. "The red locust just now was the locust king. It was a natural enemy of the King of Yen. The King of Yen originally wanted to use this opportunity to catch all of them in one fell swoop. However, on my account, he reluctantly let them go this time." "I see," Yi Fan said. "Then, the King of Yan's original body, the King of Yan's cultivation is profound. Naturally, he would not show himself easily. The paper swallow just now was merely controlled by the King of Yen." "I have never seen the real King of Yen," Jin Chan said. "I did not expect you and my grandfather to have such a story," Yi Fan said. "No wonder grandfather wanted to give this silver lock to me." "It's all in the past," Jin Chan said with a sigh. "Your grandfather and I are not fated to be together. We cannot force it." "Then, Wu Du," Yi Fan said, "I can see that he still likes you very much." "Sigh." Jin Chan sighed. "I understand his feelings. I also know that he is sincere, but—" Jin Chan suddenly recovered. She smiled at Yi Fan and said, "You rascal, you are starting to trick me." "Hee hee," Yi Fan laughed as well. He knew in his heart that this Jin Chan only had her grandfather, Yi Yun, in her heart. There was no one else. When he thought of this, he thought of Fujiwara no Chiko, who was currently unconscious. When he thought of her, Yi Fan's heart ached again. "Granny," Yi Fan said, "let's continue on our way. We will be there in another hour." As Yi Fan spoke, he walked out of the sedan chair. His spiritual energy was suspended in the air. "Okay," Jin Chan replied. "Business is more important. You continue to lead the way." When she finished speaking, she lowered the sedan chair curtain. Chapter 69. Half an hour later. "Granny, we're here," Yi Fan said. "What a strong spiritual energy." Jin Chan, who was in the red palanquin, said, "The spiritual energy in Feng Ming Mountain surges to the sky, and there's even an extremely domineering yang energy in the spiritual energy. Could it be that in this mountain—" "It's my big brother," Yi Fan explained. "Brother Kim cultivates pure yang energy." Granny Golden Silkworm was shocked. Granny, I'll lead the way. I'll go first. As Yi Fan spoke, he suddenly sped up and quickly arrived in front of the mountain. He brushed his hand against the mountain's stone door, and with a rumbling sound, the huge stone door opened. After the stone door opened, two familiar figures appeared in front of Yi Fan. The woman was Xiao Zhao, and the pale-faced scholar beside her was Brother Kim. Brother Kim, Xiao Zhao, Yi Fan said as he landed and floated into the cave. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao said happily, you're finally back. Brother Yi. The pale-faced scholar smiled as he walked in front of Yi Fan and patted Yi Fan on the shoulder. You're finally back. Brother Kim, Xiao Zhao. Yi Fan asked, how is Chico? When he asked this, the pale-faced scholar and Xiao Zhao immediately frowned. How is she? Yi Fan asked anxiously when he saw their expressions. She's still unconscious, the pale-faced scholar said. I've temporarily sealed all her blood vessels, and we're just waiting for you. Brother Yi. Xiao Zhao asked, where's Jinchan? She's here, the pale-faced scholar said as he stared outside the cave. As soon as the pale-faced scholar finished speaking, Jinchan's red palanquin broke through the white fog and floated towards the Lingyun cave. This, Xiao Zhao said, is the person in the sedan chair Jinchan? After saying that, Yi Fan turned around and walked to the entrance of the cave to receive the red palanquin. The big red palanquin slowed down and slowly landed in front of the cave entrance. Then, the curtain of the palanquin was lifted, and a person walked out with a bent back. However, the person who walked out was no longer the senile granny, but a middle-aged woman who looked to be in her 30s. She wore a Miao-yin phoenix hairpin on her head, an embroidered robe with 100 flowers on it, and a pair of white shoes with broken flowers on the bottom. Her beautiful eyes were like the stars and the moon, her skin was like cream, and her lips were red and her teeth were white. She carried a green bamboo basket on her back. She had a beautiful figure and a dignified appearance. He slowly walked towards the three of them. This, you. Yi Fan was flabbergasted. He didn't understand why the Jinchan in the palanquin suddenly changed her appearance. The middle-aged woman looked at the dumbfounded Yi Fan and smiled. What's wrong? Don't you recognize Granny? How did you become? Yi Fan looked at the charming woman in front of him, and couldn't believe his eyes. This is who I really am. Jinchan looked at the pale-faced scholar and said, this place is full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. How can I be rude? Jinchan, I am Xiao Zhao. Greetings. Xiao Zhao said and made a salute. Jinchan looked at Xiao Zhao from head to toe, and nodded to Xiao Zhao with a smile. Thank you for your trouble, Jinchan. The pale-faced scholar cupped his fists and bowed to Jinchan. Granny, please help my sworn brother no matter what. I wouldn't dare. Jinchan quickly returned the courtesy to the pale-faced scholar and said, you can call me Jinchan. Granny, please come inside. Xiao Zhao said and walked in front to lead the way. A group of 4 people walked into the cave. Yi Fan and Jinchan walked side by side, while the pale-faced scholar walked at the back. It's really a paradise. Jinchan looked at the scenery in the cave, and sighed sincerely. The group of 4 people walked across the stone bridge, bypassed several doors, and arrived at the back garden. As soon as they entered the garden, a huge stone bed came into everyone's sight. The stone bed was covered with a white curtain, and there were 2 stone stoves in front and behind it. The stoves were burning with charcoal. Chico. Yi Fan quickly walked to the bed and opened the curtain. Fujiwara no Chico's beautiful eyes were closed, and she was lying flat on the stone bed. Her black hair was scattered like a waterfall, as if she was asleep. Sworn brother, the pale-faced scholar said to Yi Fan, let Jinchan take a look first. If you don't mind, you can call me Sister Jinchan. Jinchan said to the pale-faced scholar, I really can't afford it. The pale-faced scholar was stunned for a moment, and then said with a smile, okay. Sister Jinchan. Jinchan nodded. Granny, please sit down. Yi Fan said and moved aside. He moved a stone stool in front of the bed, and invited Jinchan to sit down. After Jinchan sat down, she first took Fujiwara no Chiko's pulse, and then looked at her mouth and nose. After that, she frowned and didn't speak. "How is it, Granny?" Yi Fan anxiously asked. "It really is the yin-yang gu," Jinchan said to the pale-faced scholar. "If it weren't for you sealing her divine bloodline, or if I came 2 hours later, even if Huato was alive or Bien Ke was reborn, I'm afraid they wouldn't be able to save her." "Do you mean that she can still be saved?" Yi Fan asked nervously after hearing that. Jinchan nodded. "That's great." After Yi Fan heard this, the stone in his heart fell to the ground. "But..." Jinchan wanted to say something, but stopped. "But what?" Yi Fan saw that Jinchan wanted to say something, but stopped and hurriedly asked. "Is this woman married?" Jinchan looked at Yi Fan and asked. "Not married," Yi Fan replied. He didn't understand why Jinchan asked this. The pale-faced scholar and Xiao Zhao were also full of doubts. "This is difficult," Jinchan said. "To detoxify this poison, you need to plant another yin-yang gu in a man, and then..." "Then what?" Yi Fan hurriedly asked. "Granny, please say it." "The two have intercourse?" the pale-faced scholar asked. Jinchan nodded. "This..." Yi Fan heard this and was at a loss. He didn't know what to do. "How about this?" Jinchan said. "I will temporarily suppress the poison in her body and let her wake up. After she wakes up, let her make her own decision. What do you think?" The middle-aged woman said to Yi Fan. "Granny," Xiao Zhao asked, "how long can you suppress the poison?" "At most 3 days," Jinchan said. "Within 3 days the poison must be detoxified, otherwise..." "Brother Yi," the pale-faced scholar said to Yi Fan, "you decide." Yi Fan looked at Fujiwara no Chiko, who was lying in front of him with her eyes closed, and said with a frown, "Now that things have come to this is the only way." "That's good," Jinchan said. "I will now cast a spell to suppress the poison in her body." After saying that, she took out a square bamboo box from the basket behind her. The box was the size of a palm and was wrapped with 5 colored threads. "Go get a basin of water," Jinchan said. Xiao Zhao responded and turned to get the water. Jinchan reached out and opened the square bamboo box. Inside the box was a large piece of emerald green mulberry leaf. After she removed the leaf, a silkworm as thick as a thumb was lying motionless on the leaf in the box. What was even more surprising was that this silkworm had 5 colors. "5-colored silkworm king," the pale-faced scholar said. "It seems that I can't hide anything from you." Jinchan smiled and gently touched the 5-colored silkworm with her finger. "Don't sleep, I have something important to do." After the silkworm was touched by Jinchan, its fat body moved slightly. It raised its head slowly and reluctantly and looked at Jinchan. This little bug could actually understand human language. At this time, Xiao Zhao had already brought the water and placed the basin next to the middle-aged woman. Looking at the 5-colored silkworm in front of her, Xiao Zhao was also shocked. "Silkworm King," Jinchan smiled. "As expected of Baihu, you are indeed experienced and knowledgeable." Xiao Zhao was shocked when she heard this. She quickly turned to look at Yi Fan. She thought that Yi Fan had told Jinchan about her, but when she saw Yi Fan's surprised expression, she instantly understood that Yi Fan had not revealed her identity. To be able to see through her identity at a glance, this Jinchan was really not simple. Yi Fan was also surprised. When he saw Xiao Zhao looking at him, he did not know how to explain. He wanted to tell Xiao Zhao that he did not reveal her identity, but because Jinchan was present, he could not say it. However, at this time, Xiao Zhao suddenly smiled. Granny has discerning eyes. Xiao Zhao is ashamed of her inferiority. "Silly child," Jinchan said with a smile. "Granny is straightforward and has no other meaning. Don't think too much about it." After hearing this, Xiao Zhao smiled and stood next to the pale-faced scholar. "Granny," Yi Fan said, Do you need help? No need. As Jinshan said this, she reached out and gently placed the Silkworm King and its leaves in the basin. The leaves immediately floated on the water surface. Then, something magical happened. The water in the basin, which was so clear that one could see the bottom, instantly turned emerald green after touching the leaves. The Silkworm King wriggled its fat body and slowly wriggled to the edge of the leaves. Then, it plunged into the emerald green water and began to drink. Everyone was attracted by this scene and lowered their heads to watch the Silkworm King drink. Only the pale-faced scholar stood there with a smile on his face and looked at Jinshan without saying a word. After the time it took to burn an incense stick, the five-colored Silkworm King still had no intention of stopping. It still plunged into the water and continued to drink. At this time, it had drunk more than half of the water in the basin. Its body had also become several times bigger. It was originally as thick as a thumb, but now it was as thick as a baby's arm. The leaf it was on had gradually melted, leaving only a small piece. After another 15 minutes, the Silkworm King finally drank all the water in the basin. Its body had also become as thick as an adult's arm. At this time, the Silkworm King was lying motionlessly in the basin. At the same time, Yi Fan discovered that the leaf it was on had disappeared without a trace. It must have completely melted in the water, Yi Fan thought to himself. Why are you sleeping again? Jinshan poked the Silkworm King in the basin with her finger. You can sleep after you finish your business. The Silkworm King in the basin did not even raise its head this time. It turned its head and looked at Jinshan. Then, its body began to squirm on the spot. As the Silkworm King squirmed, the 5 colors on its body began to fuse slowly, turning into a golden color. Furthermore, the golden color became more and more intense. Finally, it began to emit a faint golden glow. That's more like it. As Jinshan spoke, she reached out and pulled out the silver hairpin on her head. She placed it beside the Silkworm King's mouth, that was emitting golden light. As the golden color on the Silkworm King's body flowed, it slowly opened its mouth. A golden thread slowly spat out from its mouth, and wrapped around the silver hairpin. Jinshan was spitting out silk. Yi Fan finally understood why the middle-aged woman was called Jinshan. As the Silkworm King constantly spat out golden threads, its body began to shrink. When its body returned to the thickness of a thumb, the Silkworm King stopped spitting out silk. The golden glow on its body also gradually disappeared as it returned to its original appearance. At this moment, the silver hairpin had more than 10 rings of golden threads wrapped around it. The golden glow was extremely dazzling. After the Silkworm King finished spitting out silk, it seemed to be very tired. It lay motionless in the basin. The golden silkworm immediately picked up the Silkworm King gently with one hand and reached into the bamboo basket with the other hand. Took out a very fat mulberry leaf, and placed it back into the box before placing the Silkworm King gently on the mulberry leaf. Granny, Yi Fan asked, is the Silkworm King all right? He knew that after a silkworm spat out silk, its life would come to an end. It's fine. This fellow is just pretending, Jinshan said with a smile. It's just tired. It'll be fine after some rest. When the Silkworm King on the leaf heard this, it slowly raised its head and turned to look at Jinshan. Then, it lay down heavily on the leaf and did not move. Jinshan smiled as she closed the box and placed it back into the bamboo basket. Then, she lifted Fujiwara no Chiko's arm with her left hand and picked up the silver hairpin with her right hand. She pointed it at Fujiwara no Chiko's meridian point and pierced it. Chapter 70. As soon as the golden thread entered her body, the complexion of Fujiwara no Chiko, who was lying on the bed, immediately became rosy. Her originally very pale face also began to regain some color. Chiko! Chiko! Yi Fan saw this and quickly shouted. Fujiwara no Chiko, who was lying on the bed, heard this and her fingers moved slightly. A pair of beautiful eyes slowly opened. Chico is awake, Yi Fan said happily. Xiao Zhao and the pale-faced scholar beside him also smiled. Where am I? Fujiwara no Chico asked in an extremely weak voice. She had just woken up and suddenly found herself surrounded by so many people. Apart from Yi Fan, she did not recognize anyone else. As she thought about this, she tried to get up but found that she did not have any strength and could not move at all. Chico, you have been unconscious for several days and did not drink a drop of water. Now that you have just woken up, do not rush to move. Yi Fan said loudly. They are all good people, they will not hurt you. In order to save you, it is all thanks to them. Fujiwara no Chico heard this and quickly nodded to the crowd. Thank you very much for saving me. Chico has troubled everyone. Let me introduce you. Yi Fan introduced one by one. This is my adopted brother Kim, this is my adopted sister Xiao Zhao, and this is your savior, Jin Chan. This time, if not for Granny's help, I am afraid that you would have. Qianzi will never forget everyone's kindness. Fujiwara no Chico was about to get up again but was stopped by Xiao Zhao. Sister, there is no need to be so polite. You are very weak now, lie on the bed and rest well. I will go get you some food to replenish your strength. After saying this, she turned and left. You should have a good rest and eat more light food. Jin-chan said to Fujiwara no Chico. Clear your stomach first. Granny, thank you for saving my life. Chico will definitely repay you in the future, Fujiwara no Chico said. Silly boy, I'm not the one who put in the most effort this time. Jin-chan looked at Yi Fan with a smile. He's the one who's the most tired. After he finished speaking, he stood up and looked at the pale-faced scholar. Brother Kim, this place has beautiful mountains and clear waters. It's a completely different world. Can you show me around? The pale-faced scholar faintly smiled. Little sister, what are you saying? Although this immortal's cave belongs to my sworn brother, I can still make this decision. After he finished speaking, the pale-faced scholar looked at Yi Fan and said, You two chat first. I'll take little sister Jin-chan out for a walk. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left with Jin-chan. Yi Fan understood that the two of them were giving him some time alone with Fujiwara no Chico. He was the only one who was most suitable to explain the detoxification to Fujiwara no Chico. What happened after I fainted? Fujiwara no Chico looked at Yi Fan, who had lost a lot of weight, and asked. At this time, Yi Fan was much thinner than before. His face was sallow and his face looked haggard. You should have a good rest first. After you finish eating, I'll slowly tell you. Yi Fan looked at Fujiwara no Chico's pale face and said in a distressed voice. Fujiwara no Chico nodded. After a while, Xiao Zhao brought a bowl of steaming white rice porridge to the bed. The fragrance of the rice immediately filled the air. Brother Yi, porridge. Xiao Zhao placed the porridge on the stone table. Little sister Chico, eat more. Thank you, big sister Xiao Zhao. Fujiwara no Chico expressed her gratitude. Xiao Zhao smiled. Brother Yi, you two talk. I'll go check on Brother Kim and Granny. She turned around and prepared to leave. Thank you for taking care of Chico these days. Yi Fan said to Xiao Zhao. Brother Yi doesn't know how to thank you. He was telling the truth. Ever since he left the Lingyun cave, Xiao Zhao had been wiping Fujiwara no Chico's body every day. She had never left. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao said with a smile. No wonder Brother Kim scolded you. You're too polite. Since I call you big brother and you call me little sister, isn't it natural for a little sister to share her brother's burdens? With that said, she smiled and left. But when she turned around, her face was full of sadness. 2 streams of tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. Come, eat the porridge while it's hot. It'll get cold. Yi Fan helped Fujiwara no Chico sit up. He then picked up the bowl of porridge and scooped a spoonful. He placed it near his mouth and gently blew on it. After he was done, he brought the porridge to Fujiwara no Chico's mouth. Fujiwara no Chico opened her small mouth and ate the porridge that Yi Fan fed her. I can see that she likes you, Fujiwara no Chiko said as she ate the porridge. Who? Yi Fan, who was holding the bowl of porridge, asked Fujiwara no Chiko in confusion. Xiao Zhao, Fujiwara no Chiko replied. Don't talk nonsense. Yi Fan said as he fed Fujiwara no Chiko. Didn't I tell you? She's my adopted sister. I saved her in my previous life. Are you really stupid or are you pretending to be stupid? Fujiwara no Chiko swallowed the porridge in her mouth. If she doesn't like you, why would she cry? Cry? Yi Fan asked in confusion. Yes. When? Yi Fan asked. Just now. Fujiwara no Chiko said, when I turned around and left. Nonsense. Yi Fan said, why would she cry? Why would I lie to you? Fujiwara no Chiko said, I saw her when she was at the door. This girl, I'll ask her later, Yi Fan said. Girl? Fujiwara no Chiko laughed. Did you forget? She's Baihu. She's hundreds of years old. She's still a girl. Yi Fan stuffed the porridge into Fujiwara no Chiko's mouth again. Do you like her? Fujiwara no Chiko, who was eating the porridge, suddenly asked. Again, she's my sister. Do you understand? Wife. Yi Fan said with a smile. You. Fujiwara no Chiko's face turned red again after hearing this. Who's your wife? Oh, you don't recognize your husband so soon, Yi Fan said with a smile. Didn't you enjoy listening to me at that time? After Fujiwara no Chiko heard this, she stared at Yi Fan angrily. Wife, don't be angry. If you're angry, you won't be able to detoxify the poison, Yi Fan said with a smile. I know I was wrong. Detoxify? Fujiwara no Chiko immediately frowned after hearing Yi Fan's words. My poison was detoxified by Jinchan just now, right? This. Yi Fan realized that he had let it slip. Originally, he planned to tell Fujiwara no Chiko after she fully recovered her strength. Now, it seemed that he could only tell her the truth. Is it because my poison was not detoxified? Fujiwara no Chiko asked calmly. Yes. Yi Fan replied. There's no cure. Fujiwara no Chiko asked. There is a way, but... Yi Fan thought about how to tell her. But what? Fujiwara no Chiko asked again. The bridal chamber. Yi Fan looked at Fujiwara no Chiko and said. What? Fujiwara no Chiko stammered. The bridal chamber? Yes, the bridal chamber. Yi Fan then told her everything that happened after Fujiwara no Chiko fainted. After Fujiwara no Chiko listened, she didn't say a word. She sat on the bed in a daze. Yi Fan had already expected that Fujiwara no Chiko would have such an expression, so he didn't say anything and just sat quietly with Fujiwara no Chiko. Forget it. Yi Fan broke the silence. He put down the bowl of porridge. I'll ask Brother Kim and Jinchan if there's any other way. If there's no other way, I'll capture Matsumoto Takeyoshi and force him to detoxify the poison. Yi Fan stood up and prepared to leave. No need. Fujiwara no Chiko, who was leaning on the bed, calmly said. Matsumoto Takeyoshi has many experts around him, and his whereabouts are unpredictable. You might not even be able to find him in 3 days. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yi Fan and said, Sit down, I have something to ask you. Yi Fan listened and sat on the bed again. Do you like me? Fujiwara no Chiko suddenly asked. Tell me the truth. Yi Fan was stunned. He didn't expect Fujiwara no Chiko to suddenly ask him this question. Answer me, do you like me or don't you like me? Fujiwara no Chiko stared at Yi Fan's surprised face and asked again. I like you. Since things had come to this, Yi Fan could only answer truthfully. How much do you like me? Fujiwara no Chiko lowered her head. I'm willing to die for you. Yi Fan said calmly. Really? Fujiwara no Chiko raised her head after hearing this. Her eyes were full of tears. After Yi Fan told her about his experience in Miaojiang, she understood Yi Fan's feelings for her. Although Yi Fan said it very casually, she knew in her heart that Yi Fan must not eat or sleep for her. Otherwise, how could he become so thin in just a few days? Yi Fan whispered. He seemed to have understood Fujiwara no Chiko's intention. Chapter 71. The next evening, the red wedding candles illuminated the room as bright as day. The big red she character was pasted on the stone wall, creating a joyous atmosphere. The huge stone table was filled with sumptuous food and wine. 13 huge stone chairs were lined up on both sides. Under the flickering candlelight, Yi Fan, who was dressed in a red robe, was overjoyed. Fujiwara no Chiko, who was wearing a phoenix coronet and a wedding gown, was bashful. The pale-faced scholar with a calm expression, Jinchan with a complicated mood, Xiao Zhao with a forced smile, and Yi Kong and Yi Yun with a heavy heart sat around the stone table. After the two of them received Yi Fan's messenger pigeon, they immediately rushed here without stopping. It was a joyous occasion for their grandchildren to get married. However, Yi Yun and Yi Kong could not feel happy at this moment. It was not that they felt that Fujiwara no Chiko was not worthy of Yi Fan. It was just that she was from Japan, an outsider. If she married Yi Fan would not have the qualifications to compete for the position of the head of the Yi family in the future. When they thought of this, the father and son felt as if a fishbone was stuck in their throat. Especially Yi Yun, when he saw his beloved Jinchan sitting in front of him. He thought of the days he spent with Jinchan. He also thought of his father's last wish that prevented the two of them from getting married. Yi Yun's heart was filled with mixed feelings. He picked up his wine cup and took a big gulp. Jinchan was the same. The man she loved was right in front of her, as if it was just yesterday. When she thought of how she had been alone for the past few decades, tossing and turning every day without sleep, Jinchan also had mixed feelings. She also picked up her wine cup and drank by herself. The pale-faced scholar's face was calm, and it was hard to tell whether he was happy or unhappy. He looked at the pair of beautiful women in front of him, as if he was thinking about some past events. The one who was the most upset was Xiao Zhao. Ever since Brother Kim told her that he had found Eldritch's reincarnation, she had been waiting day and night for Brother Yi in Lingyun Cave. He thought that his happiness was right in front of him, but who would have thought that Fujiwara no Chiko would suddenly appear halfway? Although she was now Baihu, she had already cultivated into a human body. She was kind by nature and did not show any sadness. Instead, she stood up with a smile and poured wine for everyone present. She was already trying her best to hide it. Other than the pale-faced scholar and Yi Fan, no one knew that she had cried for an entire night in the full moon pavilion at the peak of Fengming Mountain. Even when she was cooking in the kitchen, she was crying. Among everyone present, other than Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chiko, everyone had their own thoughts. For a moment, the atmosphere was somewhat awkward. Brother Yi, the pale-faced scholar, broke the silence. He stood up and picked up his wine cup. Today is your big day. I wish you two a happy and happy couple. I wish you two a happy and happy life. After he finished speaking, he downed the wine in his cup. Thank you, big brother, Yi Fan said as he also raised his cup. Chiko is poisoned and cannot drink. Today I will drink on her behalf. After speaking, he drank 2 cups of wine in succession. Yi Fan actually understood the distress of everyone present. His father, Yi Kong, and grandfather, Yi Yun, hoped that he could inherit the Yi clan in the future. Jinchan felt complicated after seeing Yi Yun, and Brother Kim originally wanted to matchmake him and Xiao Zhao. As for Xiao Zhao, in fact, when he first met Xiao Zhao, he already understood Xiao Zhao's feelings for him. Last night, he had been meditating. Because he had completely recovered his spiritual power, his 5 senses were abnormally sharp. He could clearly hear Xiao Zhao's heart-wrenching cries on the peak of Fengming Mountain. He really wanted to go up and comfort her, but he knew that if he comforted her, it would be counterproductive. Now, the best thing to do was to pretend to be confused. Perhaps after he and Fujiwara no Chiko were married, Xiao Zhao would give up. Fan Air, Granny also salutes you. Jin-chan also stood up and raised her glass. Although you and Granny have only known each other for a few days, you have a good temper. Granny wishes the two of you to grow old together and be united forever. After speaking, she drank the wine in one gulp. Yi Fan is eternally grateful for Granny's life-saving grace. Yi Fan said as he drank 2 more cups. The wine in the glass was the 100 flowers drunk that Eldritch had brewed in the past. In addition, the glass was not small. After drinking 4 cups, he was already a little drunk and his face was flushed. He took the wine jug and filled the 2 cups. Then, he raised the cup and walked in front of Xiao Zhao. Little sister Xiao Zhao. Yi Fan said drunkenly, Brother Yi salutes you. As he spoke, his body swayed and he almost fell. Xiao Zhao hurriedly supported Yi Fan. Brother Yi, you drank too much. Ha ha ha. Yi Fan waved his hand. Brother Yi is not drunk. Big Brother Yi. I'm sorry. After Yi Fan said this, he suddenly drank the wine in his hand in one gulp. Then, he drank another cup. Brother Yi. Xiao Zhao looked at Yi Fan with heartache. After a moment, she also drank the wine in her hand. 2 drops of tears flowed from the corners of her eyes and disappeared in an instant. She did not want others to see her tears, so she used a spell to hide them. After Yi Fan finished drinking, he staggered and turned around. He faced Yi Yun and Yi Kong and knelt on the ground with a thud. Yi Yun and Yi Kong were silent. Grandfather, father, Yi Fan said. Yi Fan is unfilial. He married a woman from another clan and let you down. After speaking, he kowtowed 3 times. After that, he raised his head and said, It doesn't matter if the Yi clan doesn't have Yi Fan, but if Chiko doesn't have Yi Fan, her life will be in danger. Most importantly, I really like her. Yi Kong and Yi Yun could not sit still anymore. They stood up and helped Yi Fan up. Fan Air, don't say any more. Today is your big day. Let's put aside the rules. Today can only be described in one word. Happy. Yi Kong understood Yi Fan's feelings. Come, Yi Kong raised his wine cup. Let's drink together. Fan Air, Yi Yun also raised his wine cup. You're better than grandfather. Live happily. Cheers. The 3 of them drank the wine in one gulp. After that, they laughed loudly. The awkward atmosphere from before was instantly swept away. Brother Jean, you're really not kind. Why didn't you tell me about such a big happy occasion? Just as everyone was about to eat, a young man's voice suddenly came from outside the door. As soon as he finished speaking, a white-robed scholar appeared at the door with a smile. Ha 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 ha. The pale-faced scholar laughed and stood up. Brother Bai, why didn't you stay in the sky? What are you doing here? Don't tell me you've also been hooked by this 100 flowers drunk. Aren't you afraid of breaking the rules of the heavens by coming down to the lower realm without permission? Ha ha. Brother Jean, what are you saying? The white-robed scholar slowly walked towards the stone table. No matter what, I've received so many years of incense from the Yi clan. Furthermore, the person holding the wedding is Brother Jin's sworn brother. How can I not come to support? Grandfather, father, Yi Fan saw that the sky dragon had personally arrived, so he quickly stood up and said to Yi Yun and Yi Kong, This is the benefactor that our Yi clan has worshipped for generations. Chapter 72. Yi Yun is being impolite. I didn't know that my benefactor would come in person. Please forgive me, said Yi Yun. Well. The scholar in white helped the 3 of them up hastily. I'm here to attend the wedding banquet as old Jin's friend. You don't have to be so courteous. Don't be so formal. The 3 of them nodded hastily. Jin-chan had a discerning eye. Back when she was with Yi Yun, she had heard Yi Yun mention that the Yi family worshipped the sky dragon. As such, she stood up and bowed, saying, Greetings, immortal Bai. The immortal Bai was just right, but she couldn't call him the Sky Dragon. The scholar in white nodded with a smile. Though Xiao Zhao hadn't seen this Sky Dragon before, she had learned about the story of this Sky Dragon's cultivation from Brother Kim. Since Brother Kim and this Sky Dragon had been good friends for many years, she also stood up and bowed, saying, "Greetings, Big Brother Bai." Since she was called Brother Kim by the scholar, she could only call the Sky Dragon Big Brother Bai. The Sky Dragon said with a smile, "You must be Xiao Zhao. I've heard Brother Jin mention you. You're indeed a beauty." Xiao Zhao didn't say anything with a smile. "Chico." Yi Fan pulled Fujiwara no Chico to his side. "Come and greet your benefactor." "Chico greets my benefactor," said Fujiwara no Chico as she was about to kneel down to greet the Sky Dragon. "The bride is too courteous." The Sky Dragon in white helped Fujiwara no Chico up hastily. "Brother Jin is my good friend, and Yi Fan is Brother Jin's sworn younger brother. Since you're Brother Jin's sworn younger brother, you're my sworn younger brother as well. You're my sister-in-law from now on. Am I right, Brother Jin?" "Ha ha ha ha!" The scholar in white clapped his hands and laughed out loud. "Well said. Come on, don't just stand there. Let's take our seat." The group took their seats hastily. The Sky Dragon sat by the scholar in white. "Come," the pale-faced scholar raised his wine cup and said, "Today is my sworn brother's big day. Let's toast him and his wife together." After hearing this, everyone quickly raised their wine glasses and greeted Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chico. "I, Yi Fan, am not worthy of your love." Yi Fan quickly stood up and said, "Today, I thank you on behalf of Chico. Cheers." "Cheers." Everyone gulped down the wine in their cups. "Ha ha, awesome." The pale-faced scholar smiled and said, "Today is your brother Ye's big day. I don't have anything to give you." As he spoke, he took out an ancient book from his bosom. The book was overflowing with an ancient aura. One look and one could tell that it was an ancient item. The pale-faced scholar opened the book and directly tore a page from it. Then, he put the ancient book back into his bosom. Everyone was puzzled, but Sky Dragon's expression changed. "Brother Yi, this is the Qi cultivation method of the Xiantian secret. Today, I'll give it to you as a congratulatory gift." As the pale-faced scholar spoke, he gently flung the page he tore from the ancient book. The page flew lightly to the stone table in front of Yi Fan. "Xiantian secrets?" Yi Fan picked up the piece of paper in front of him and saw that it was densely filled with small, ancient characters. "Thank you, big brother," Yi Fan said. The pale-faced scholar smiled and nodded. "Brother Jin is so generous." The white-robed Sky Dragon smiled and said, "Even the Heavenly Court has never recorded this Xiantian secrets. I didn't expect Brother Jin to have a secret manual that even I didn't know about." "Hee hee," the pale-faced scholar smiled and said, "Doesn't the Heavenly Court have the Big Dipper pivot? How could you be interested in something like this?" "Brother Jin really knows how to joke," Sky Dragon said with a smile. "This Xiantian Secrets is an ancient secret manual. It doesn't lose to the Big Dipper pivot. There are even some secret techniques that are not recorded in the Big Dipper pivot." As he spoke, he turned to Yi Fan. "Fan Air, you are so lucky. You have to practice hard in the future." Yi Fan nodded in fear and trepidation. He was not the only one. Everyone present, except for Sky Dragon and the pale-faced scholar, was shocked. A secret manual that even the Heavenly Court did not have, its power could be imagined. "Old White, you are a member of the Heavenly Court. You can't attend this wedding banquet for nothing." The pale-faced scholar put his arm around Sky Dragon's shoulder and said with a smile, "You have to do something." "Hee, of course." Sky Dragon laughed and said, "But I can't compare to you, Old Gold. I don't have any secret manuals." As he said that, he took out a wooden box that was half a foot long. The wooden box was extremely thin, less than an inch thick. As the white-robed Sky Dragon gently opened the box, A gentle white light came out of the box. A white silk fabric lay quietly inside the wooden box. Flawless Taoist robe. This time, it was the pale-faced scholar's turn to be shocked. Old gold has good eyesight, Sky Dragon said. I used a crimson dragon pearl to exchange for this flawless Taoist robe from Fairy Feihong. It took me a lot of persuasion before she agreed to knit one. Today, I will give this robe to you, Fan Air. With that said, he gently pushed with his finger, and the wooden box slid in front of Yi Fan. Thank you, benefactor. Yi Fan hurriedly thanked him. Sky Dragon smiled and nodded. Brother Yi, this flawless Taoist robe is no ordinary item. The pale-faced scholar said, this robe is as light as a feather. It is invulnerable to swords and spears, impervious to water and fire. It is an immortal item. Do you know why Old White used a crimson dragon pearl to obtain this robe? It is because this robe has a great advantage. The pale-faced scholar deliberately kept him in suspense. You will know when you wear it in the future. After Yi Fan heard that, he thanked the white-robed heavenly dragon again. Fan Air, I am not like the two immortals, and I came in a hurry. I don't have anything to give you. Jinchan, who was sitting opposite Yi Yun, said, I have a pair of green beetles here. I will give them to you and your wife. With that said, she took out a small delicate bamboo tube from the bamboo basket beside her and handed it to Yi Fan. Green beetles? Sky Dragon was shocked. Could it be? That's right. It should be the legendary green beetles. The pale-faced scholar said, I didn't expect Sister Jinchan to have such a thing. Brother Kim, you must be joking. Jinchan said. You call him Big Brother Jin. It seems that I have one more sister now. The white-robed heavenly dragon laughed. Then I will call you Brother White from now on. Jinchan toasted Sky Dragon, and the two looked at each other and smiled. These green beetles are a match made in heaven. They are inseparable in life and death. Jinchan put down the wine glass and said to Yi Fan, if the two of you go out, each of you can take one with you. Even if you are thousands of miles away, these green beetles can find each other. Yi Fan thanked again. Brother Yi, I also have a gift for you, Xiao Zhao said as she stood up and came in front of Yi Fan. She took out a brocade box and handed it to Yi Fan. There is a pair of dragon and phoenix jade pendants inside. Brother Yi, you gave it to me in your previous life. I have kept it for many years. Now that you and Sister Chico are married, I will use this opportunity to give you and sister-in-law this pair of dragon and phoenix jade pendants. This. Yi Fan opened the brocade box. A pair of dazzling and lifelike dragon and phoenix jade pendants quietly lay inside. Don't be like this. Take it. Xiao Zhao smiled. Take it. The pale-faced scholar said, Xiao Zhao's kind intentions. Yi Fan had no choice but to accept it. Thank you, Sister Xiao Zhao. Fujiwara no Chico said to Xiao Zhao. Don't call me sister. You will be my sister-in-law in the future. Xiao Zhao said with a smile. She then turned around and returned to her seat. Fan Air, you are really lucky to have so many good friends. Yi Yun said. I don't have anything good to give. Yi Yun said as he took out a banknote from his bosom and handed it to Fujiwara no Chico. You are now the daughter-in-law of the Yi family. If Yi Fan dares to bully you in the future, just tell me and I will teach him a lesson. This little money is the betrothal gift of the Yi family. I hope you don't mind. Fujiwara no Chico took the banknote and looked at it. She couldn't help but be shocked. On the banknote was written 200,000 taels of gold. This. Fujiwara no Chico saw so much money for the first time. She looked at Yi Fan and didn't know whether to accept it or not. Take it, Yi Fan said. At this time, Yi Kong also stood up and came to Yi Fan. He handed a box in his hand to Fujiwara no Chico. I wish you a happy marriage for 100 years. Fujiwara no Chico took the box and opened it. Unexpectedly, there was a jade dagger inside. The dagger, including the scabbard, was carved from a whole piece of jade. It was emerald green and extremely delicate. "Thank you, Uncle Yi." "Thank you, Grandpa Yi." Fujiwara no Chiko quickly thanked. "Still calling me uncle," Yikong said with a smile. "Father, Grandpa," Fujiwara no Chiko called out with a red face. Chapter 73. The wedding banquet lasted for 4 hours and still wasn't over. While toasting, Jinchan pulled Yi Fan aside and handed a pill the size of a grain of rice to Yi Fan. "Fan air," Jinchan said with a smile, "this is the goo worm I made. Take it now and take the bride to the bridal chamber." Yi Fan responded and swallowed the pill Jinchan handed over with a red face. He thought that he would feel uncomfortable after swallowing the goo worm, but he felt refreshed after swallowing it, and his drunkenness was swept away. This pill. Yi Fan didn't understand. Silly child. Jinchan was slightly drunk at this time, but her smile was like a flower. "I put some hangover medicine in it, otherwise how can you detoxify it?" Yi Fan's face turned red after hearing this. After Jinchan finished speaking, she walked back to the stone table and nodded to the white-faced scholar who was drinking in high spirits. The white-faced scholar immediately understood and stood up, saying, "Everyone, it's getting late. It's time for the couple to enter the bridal chamber. Today, everyone is staying in the Lingyun cave. I'll play host on behalf of my sworn brother." "Fan air, old Jean is right. You take Chico to rest early," the white-robed sky dragon said with a smile. Yi Fan nodded and bowed to everyone. Then, he took the red-faced Fujiwara no Chiko upstairs. "Brother Kim, Brother Bai, Uncle Yi, mother-in-law, take your time drinking." Xiao Zhao stood up and said, "I'm not good at drinking and have a headache. I'll go back to my room first. Sorry for being rude." "It's okay," the white-faced scholar said. "Xiao Zhao, you go rest first. I'm here." He knew in his heart that Xiao Zhao's cultivation was not low, so this little bit of wine was nothing to her. However, the person she loved was already someone else, so when Xiao Zhao returned to her room, she would definitely cry. After Xiao Zhao stood up and greeted everyone, she slowly went upstairs with a dull look in her eyes. After another hour, the wedding banquet finally came to an end. The after-effects of the 100 Flowers' drunkenness were extremely strong. Yikong was not a drinker, but at this time, his head was already heavy, so he got up and excused himself, returning upstairs to rest. At this time, only the pale-faced scholar, Sky Dragon, Jinchan and Yi Yun were left at the stone table. Needless to say, Sky Dragon and the pale-faced scholar were not mortals. A mere 100-blossom drunk would not be able to do anything to them. Jinchan, on the other hand, was well versed in medicine. Coupled with her special ability, she was still sober even after drinking a few cups of 100 Flowers drunk. Yi Yun, on the other hand, usually liked to drink. Coupled with the fact that his former lover was sitting next to him, even though his cultivation was not low, his face was only slightly red. "Old Jean," the white-robed sky dragon said, "this Feng Ming mountain is indeed worthy of its reputation. I'm sick of the scenery in the heavenly court. Today is a rare opportunity. Why don't you accompany me around?" "Ha ha!" The pale-faced scholar looked up to the sky and laughed. "How is it? You must be bored in the heavenly court. All right, I'll bring you around." With that, he said to Jinchan, "You two drink first. I'll bring old Bai around." With that, he picked up a pot of wine and left with the white-robed sky dragon. "Brother Kim, Jean." Before Jinchan could finish speaking, the pale-faced scholar and the white-robed sky dragon had already disappeared into thin air. Only the two of them were left. Since the two of them met, they had not spoken a word. Now that they were sitting opposite each other, it was extremely awkward. The two of them did not speak for a long time. Jinchan stood up and prepared to leave. "You still hate me?" Yi Yun, who was sitting on the stone chair, opened his mouth and broke the silence. He picked up the wine pot and filled his cup to the brim. Then, he tilted his head back and drank it all. Jinchan, who had already stood up and was about to leave, stopped in her tracks. However, she did not turn around. I do. Jinchan gritted her teeth and said, I wish I could kill you with my sword. If you want to kill me, feel free to come and find me. Yi Yun continued to pour wine into his cup. I won't fight back. However, I can't die yet. When the Yi family has a new head, you can do whatever you want to me. Jinchan frowned after hearing that. She did not say anything. I know you hate me. I let you down back then. Yi Yun did not even raise his head as he poured himself a cup of wine. You must think that I abandoned you for the position of head of the Yi family, right? Is that not the case? Jinchan turned around and glared at him coldly. Back then, you left behind a divorce letter and went to be the head of the Yi family, leaving me alone. Is the position of head of the Yi family that important to you? The Yi family is full of talents. Can't it do without you, Yi Yun? Did you fulfill the promises you made to me back then? Jinchan became angrier as she spoke. I was blind to have misjudged you. I did not see that you were a person who coveted power and false fame. Shameless. You can scold me however you want. Yi Yun drank another large cup of wine, but let me tell you, I have my difficulties. Difficulties? Humph. Jinchan sneered. You became the head of the Yi family and inherited the family business. You can also study the weapon forging manual. I heard that you even married a beautiful girl. You have both fame and fortune. Now you are telling me that you have difficulties. What a joke. I know you do not believe me. Yi Yun stood up, but you should believe in your master, Tian Kanzi. Yi Yun was slightly drunk now. Master? Jinchan was shocked when she heard the name Tian Kanzi. What does this have to do with my master? Yi Yun did not speak. He swayed his drunken body as he walked in front of Jinchan and started to undress. You, what are you doing? Jinchan took a step back and said involuntarily. Yi Yun did not answer. After the ribbon at his waist was untied, he turned around and took off his shirt, exposing his back. You recognize this, right? Golden Silkworm originally wanted to scold Yi Yun, but when she saw the pattern on Yi Yun's back, she was immediately stunned. She was shocked and couldn't say a word. Burn! Burn! Burn the sky pattern! Jinchan looked at the flame pattern formed by unknown characters on Yi Yun's back. Her face instantly paled. This burn the sky pattern was a secret pattern created by her master Tian Kanzi. It was in the shape of a flame and was completely formed by secret spells. There were 10 flames on the flame, 3 green and 7 red. This pattern could be used to create great power by using silver needles and secret spell patterns on the body. It was said that if this pattern was used to the extreme, even Daluo immortals would not be able to escape. She heard from her master that this pattern was too overbearing. Unless it was an emergency, it should not be used because every time it was used, it would consume at least 10 years of one's lifespan. The 10 flames on the pattern represented a person's 3 souls and 7 spirit. Every time it was used, it would first consume one's lifespan, then the soul. When the pattern on the body disappeared, the person would die. What was more terrifying was that once the pattern disappeared, it meant that the person had used up all his 3 souls and 7 spirits. He could no longer enter the cycle of reincarnation. In layman's terms, it meant that the person's soul had been destroyed. In the past, her master, Tian Kanzi, had used this trick when he was fighting against her martial uncle, Ka Sang, who had cultivated into an evil wizard. With just one move, Ka Sang's 200 years of cultivation was destroyed and he became a cripple. However, her master, Tian Kanzi, had also sacrificed 30 years of his lifespan. Overnight, his hair turned white and wrinkles appeared. If he did not cultivate the green wizard scripture in the end, he would definitely be a white-haired old man now. She had only seen this pattern once. Her master, Tian Kanzi, did not pass it to her because this pattern was harmful to the harmony between heaven and earth. Even her master had removed the burning sky pattern on his body. Now that this pattern had appeared on Yiyun, she faintly felt that her master was hiding something extremely important from her. "Now you believe me, right?" Yiyun put on his clothes and tied the ribbon around his waist. His body swayed as he returned to his seat and drank by himself. "What's going on?" Jin-chan asked with a frown. "Why do you have this on you?" "That's all I can say." Yiyun smiled bitterly. "I've said that I have my reasons. If you want to know, go back and ask your master." Ever since my master became a heaven wizard, he has traveled the world and practiced medicine. Jin-chan sat down on the stone chair opposite Yiyun. "I haven't seen him in 3 years. I don't know where he is now. How have you been these years?" Yiyun looked at Jin-chan and asked, "Why are you still alone?" "How do you know I'm alone?" Jin-chan said coldly. "I'm already married." "Ha ha!" Yiyun laughed. "You're still the same. You don't know how to lie. If you're married, why are you still wearing the silver lock I gave you back then?" Jin-chan did not speak after hearing this. She picked up the wine jug on the table and poured herself a full cup. She drank it all in one gulp. "It's been so many years. It's been hard on you." Yiyun looked at Jin-chan and said. Slap! Jin-chan slammed the glass cup on the stone table. She did not speak and continued to pour and drink. She drank 3 cups in a row. After the 3 cups went down her stomach, her face flushed red and tears appeared in her eyes. After so many years, she finally heard his comforting words. However, she had been waiting for these words for decades. "I'm tired." Jin-chan stood up. "Drink on your own." With that, she turned and left. Chapter 74. Yifan held Fujiwara no Chiko's hand as they walked down the stairs and arrived at the new room. Xiao Zhao had spent an entire day decorating the room. This was the largest bedroom in the Ling Yun cave. It was about 10 zhang long and 6 zhang wide. The layout of the room was very ancient and elegant. There was a pavilion screen, a stone table, and stone chairs. A chessboard and a guqin were displayed in the room. Strange flowers and plants decorated the room. There was a huge double bed with a red bedding embroidered with mandarin ducks playing in water. It was very eye-catching. There was a huge luminous pearl above their heads that shone brightly. Under the illumination of the luminous pearl, the entire room appeared very quiet and peaceful. After the two entered the new room, they sat at the stone table. Under the light of the red wedding candles on the stone table, Fujiwara no Chiko's face was like a peach blossom. She was as beautiful as a fairy. There was an indescribable charm to her that made Yifan feel as if he was intoxicated. It was as if he was in a dream. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yifan and couldn't help but smile. "Am I that beautiful?" "Of course you're beautiful. You're just like a fairy in a painting." Yifan smiled. "No, you're even more beautiful than a fairy. In the future I will be your wife. After a long time, you will get tired of looking at me." Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. "How could that be?" Yifan picked up the teapot on the stone table and poured a cup of tea. He handed it to Fujiwara no Chiko. "In the future, even if you become an old woman, I will still like looking at you. I know the rules of your great Ming dynasty. A man can have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but a woman must have 3 obedience and 4 virtues." Fujiwara no Chiko took the tea from Yifan. After taking a sip, she looked at Yifan and said with a smile, "Tell me about your plan. How many women are you going to marry in the future?" "Ha ha ha!" Yifan laughed. "What? You just got married, and you're ready to take charge of the harem." After Yifan finished speaking, he took Fujiwara no Chiko's hand and smiled. "Well, I'll listen to you. I'll marry as many as you want. How about it? Smooth talker." Fujiwara no Chiko laughed. "How about this?" Yifan smiled and said, 3 wives and 4 concubines? I don't want 3 wives, but I can consider 4 concubines. You can try. Fujiwara no Chiko smiled like a flower. I promise you won't live past the wedding night. So ruthless. Yi Fan smiled and said, You won't even let me have the wedding night? I'm afraid you won't be able to have the wedding night, Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. At that time, I won't call you husband. I'll call you Eunuch Yi. Eunuch Yi? Yi Fan smiled and said, You know a lot. That's natural. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yi Fan with a proud face. Then I won't dare. Yi Fan smiled. That's more like it. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yi Fan with a smile. Wife, don't worry. He got up and pulled Fujiwara no Chiko up. He held her hands and said softly, It's enough to have you in this life. Okay. Fujiwara no Chiko leaned her head in Yi Fan's arms. Wife, Yi Fan hugged Fujiwara no Chiko, who breathed out like orchids and was delicate and soft. He felt his blood rush up and his mouth dry. It's getting late. I should detoxify you, Yi Fan said as he carried the shy Fujiwara no Chiko by the waist and walked to the stone bed. He reached out and the wedding candles on the stone table were extinguished instantly. Fengming Mountain, Wangyue Pavilion. The white-robed sky dragon and the pale-faced scholar stood on the lonely peak, admiring the starlight in the sky. The human world is still the best. The white-robed sky dragon sighed. Free and unrestrained. I finally understand why you want to play the human world. Ha ha ha. The pale-faced scholar looked up to the sky and laughed. Brother White, why are you so sentimental today? Could it be that seeing my sworn brother get married has made you yearn for the mundane world? Ha ha. This mouth of yours is always unforgiving. The white-robed sky dragon laughed. You're such a killjoy. Ha ha. The pale-faced scholar picked up the wine pot and took a sip before laughing. I'm sure Brother White's visit today is not just to congratulate and enjoy the scenery. Oh! The white-robed sky dragon looked at the pale-faced scholar with a smile. In that case, Brother Jean, why don't you tell me why I'm here? I know the rules of heaven. The pale-faced scholar smiled. I can't descend to the mortal world easily. With your character, this trip is definitely not simple. Coupled with the flawless robe that you gave me, this matter is even more complicated. I didn't expect Brother Jean to be so meticulous even though you're greedy for the things in this cup. The white-robed sky dragon laughed. You're right. Firstly, I'm here to congratulate Brother Jin's sworn brother. Secondly, the white-robed sky dragon leaned his head close to the pale-faced scholar who was drinking from the pot and whispered, I've already investigated the matter that you told me last time. Oh! The pale-faced scholar immediately put down the wine pot after hearing this sentence. What do the higher-ups mean? Let it be, the white-robed sky dragon said. Let it be. The pale-faced scholar frowned after hearing this. What does this mean? Brother Jean, you're really confused. The white-robed sky dragon said. It's clear that the higher-ups don't care about this matter. Don't tell me you still don't understand, Brother Jean? After saying that, he looked at the pale-faced scholar who was frowning with a smile. Don't tell me. The pale-faced scholar suddenly understood the mystery after being reminded by the white-robed sky dragon. The white-robed sky dragon looked at the pale-faced scholar and nodded with a smile. Ha ha ha! The pale-faced scholar hugged the white-robed sky dragon's shoulder and laughed heartily. That's great, that's great! Ha ha, this is heaven's secret. Brother Jean, you must not reveal this matter, the white-robed sky dragon said. Don't worry, Brother White. Although I, old Jean, am greedy for wine, I still know what to say and what not to say, the pale-faced scholar said. However, there's one thing I must remind you of, Brother Jean, the white-robed sky dragon said. I've carefully observed Yi Fan. There's a faint trace of demonic nature in his spiritual platform. It must have been left behind by Eldritch in his previous life. When I think of Brother Jean teaching him the secret of mysterious heaven and the cold dragon sword and distant fire sword, I'm worried that once his demonic nature appears, I'm afraid. Your worry is not without reason. The pale-faced scholar stopped smiling when he heard the sky dragon's words. However, don't worry. I'll be careful. I won't let him repeat the path of eldritch. That's good. The white-robed sky dragon nodded and said, I gave him the flawless robe. Firstly, it's to increase his strength. Secondly, it's to restrain him and suppress his demonic nature to prevent him from going astray in the future. The white-robed sky dragon raised his head and looked at the beautiful night sky on Phoenix Cry Mountain. He slowly said, once the situation goes out of control in the future, not only will Yi Fan repeat the path of eldritch, I'm afraid that even you and I will not be able to avoid fighting. After all, I'm a member of the Heavenly Court. Do you understand what I mean, Brother Jean? The pale-faced scholar's face was solemn as he nodded solemnly. It's getting late. There's no point in staying any longer. The white-robed sky dragon cupped his hands and said, The Heavenly Court is busy. I'll leave first. Brother Jean, take care. Brother Bai, take care too. The pale-faced scholar also cupped his hands and said, Chapter 75. The next morning. When Yi Fan woke up, the sky was already bright. Looking at Fujiwara no Chiko sleeping soundly beside him with her back exposed, Yi Fan smiled as he recalled last night's boundless spring scenery. He gently stroked Fujiwara no Chiko's jet-black hair, bowed his head and smelled Fujiwara no Chiko's scent, intoxicated by it. Fujiwara no Chiko's neck was tickled by Yi Fan's touch, and she slowly opened her beautiful eyes. You're awake. Fujiwara no Chiko said sleepily. Your poison has just been cured, so you need to rest. Yi Fan leaned over and kissed Fujiwara no Chiko's forehead. Sleep a little more. What time is it? Still sleeping? Fujiwara no Chiko got up and began to put on her clothes, making Yi Fan's eyes start to burn, his lips dry, and he was ready to move. What time is it? Still thinking about this. Fujiwara no Chiko saw that Yi Fan's eyes were not right and immediately said with a smile, Why haven't you paid your respects to father and grandfather? After her reminder, Yi Fan finally regained his senses and quickly got up to put on his clothes as well. The second day of the wedding, according to the rules, the parents should be served tea and paid their respects. After the husband and wife finished packing, they opened the stone door and slowly walked down the stairs to the pavilion below. Inside the pavilion, the pale-faced scholar, Jinchan, Yi Kong, and Yi Yun were already there chatting and drinking tea, but Xiao Zhao was not there. The husband and wife quickly stepped forward and bowed to everyone, while Fujiwara no Chiko served tea to Yi Kong and Yi Yun. After all the formalities were finished, Jinchan began to take Fujiwara no Chiko's pulse again. Granny, how is it? Yi Fan asked. You can rest assured this time. Jinchan smiled and retracted her hand. The poison in her body has completely dissipated, and she has recovered. That's great, Yi Fan said happily. Fujiwara no Chiko was also overjoyed. This time, not only did she get rid of the poison in her body, she also found her ideal husband. How could she not be happy? The two looked at each other and smiled affectionately. Fan air. Yi Kong slowly walked in front of Yi Fan and said, I've already discussed this with your grandfather. Since you're already married, you can live in the Lingyun cave in the future. This place is a completely different world. It's full of spirit qi and is very suitable for your cultivation. If you miss home in the future, you can bring Chiko back to stay for a few days. It's best if you bring along my great-grandson, ha ha. Yi Yun also laughed as he walked towards Yi Fan. Fujiwara no Chiko's face turned red when she heard this. Fan air. Jinchan took out a bag of things from the bamboo basket and walked in front of Yi Fan. These are some herbs for nourishing the body. Although Chiko has recovered, she has just recovered from a serious illness. You can boil these herbs for her to drink every day. It'll be very good for her. Yi Fan thanked her again. Jinshan smiled and said, although it's not strange to be so polite, Granny, I really don't like you being so polite. In the future, when you and Chico have time or pass by Miaojiang, you must come and see this old woman. Granny, you're elusive. Yi Fan smiled and said, where can I find you? Jinshan smiled and said, don't worry about this. As long as you take the mulberry leaf I gave you, I'll naturally know when you enter Miaojiang. Yi Fan nodded. Fan Yi Kong said, the Yi family is busy. Your grandfather and I will go back first. You stay here and take good care of Chico. Practice diligently and don't neglect your cultivation. Yi Kong turned his head and said to Fujiwara no Chico, Chico, come here. I have something to say to you. After speaking, he walked towards the entrance of the Lingyun cave. Fujiwara no Chico responded and then looked at Yi Fan. Yi Fan smiled and nodded, go ahead. Fujiwara no Chico immediately turned and walked towards the entrance of the cave. Fan Yi Yun said to Yi Fan, I know about Chico's situation from your father. The reason why your father asked the two of you to stay here is for your safety. After all, this place is deserted and there's a barrier. If they're not experts, they definitely won't come here. In addition, your brother Kim is here. Your father and I are relieved. Grandpa, Yi Fan said, although those evildoers didn't succeed last time, they will definitely not give up. They will definitely come back again. I'm worried, you can rest assured. Yi Yun smiled and said, they already learned their lesson last time and know that the Yi family is not to be trifled with. In addition, with the protection of the heavenly dragon and the deterrence of the Yi ancestor, they won't dare to come again in a short time. Grandpa, if anything happens, you must inform me, Yi Fan exhorted. Don't worry. Yi Yun patted Yi Fan's shoulder. At the same time, Fujiwara no Chico and Yi Kong arrived at the entrance of the cave. The two of them stopped and faced each other. Chico, Yi Kong said, your master, Ito Fumio, and I are close friends. Now that you and Fan are married, it can be said that you're even closer. Since you're now the daughter-in-law of the Yi family, I have a few words to tell you. Father, please speak, Fujiwara no Chico replied. Although Fan now has a secret technique, he's not as experienced as you. I know his temperament. He's kind and abhors evil, but sometimes he doesn't care about the big picture. Yi Kong said, now that I'm not by his side, I'll leave the matter of taking care of him to you. You're his wife, so some words are more useful than mine. Father, don't worry, Fujiwara no Chico said, I'll take good care of him. Yi Kong said, as for the enmity of the in-laws, you can rest assured. This matter is no longer your matter alone. Father will take care of it for you, and the Yi family will also take care of it for you. Father! Fujiwara no Chico choked with sobs. Yi Kong's words made her feel fatherly love again. Father doesn't have a daughter, so in the future, I'll treat you as my own daughter. Yi Kong used his hand to wipe away the tears on Fujiwara no Chico's face. Fujiwara no Chico smiled through her tears. I've already sent people to investigate. That Matsumoto Takeyoshi's influence in the great Ming dynasty is deeply rooted. He has many eyes and ears, and even some of the important officials in the court are his people. Yi Kong said, there are many experts around him. Chico, you must not act recklessly. Otherwise, don't talk about revenge. I'm afraid you won't be able to escape unscathed. China has an old saying that it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Do you understand? Father, I understand. Fujiwara no Chico nodded. Yi Kong said, okay, let's go back. It's time to say goodbye to them. The two people returned to the pavilion again. Brother Kim, I'm also going back to Miaojiang. In the future, if Brother Kim has time, you must come to Miaojiang. Jinshan said to the white-faced scholar. Of course, of course. The white-faced scholar replied with a smile. Fan take good care of Chico. Jinchan said to Yi Fan, "If you don't feel well, just come and find me. Mother-in-law, don't worry." Yi Fan held Fujiwara no Chiko's hand and said, "In the future, I will definitely bring Chiko to see you." Jinchan nodded. "Brother Kim, I'll take my leave." Saying that, she turned around and walked towards the entrance of the cave. "We'll also take our leave," Yi Yun also said to the white-faced scholar. After saying that, he walked towards the entrance of the cave with Yi Kong. The white-faced scholar and Yi Fan couple walked the three people to the entrance of the cave. "Everyone, take care," Yi Yun said and then jumped into the air. Using his sword chi to support his body, he floated down the mountain. Yi Kong also cupped his fist. Then, he circulated his connate yuan chi and quickly floated down the mountain. Jinchan nodded to the three people. Then, she turned around and waved her hand in the air. A red palanquin instantly floated over. Jinchan walked into the palanquin and sat down. The red palanquin gently turned around. A red shadow floated into the sky. "I didn't expect mother-in-law to have such abilities," Fujiwara no Chiko said in surprise as she watched the palanquin disappear into the distance. "This is nothing," Yi Fan said. "It's a pity that you weren't there when mother-in-law and Wu Du fought. That scene will definitely be unforgettable." "Wu Du?" the white-faced scholar suddenly asked. "Wu Du, the Gu King. Big Brother is indeed Big Brother. It's Wu Du, the Gu King," Yi Fan said. "That day, I brought Jinchan and met Wu Du on the way. If it wasn't for Jinchan's brilliant methods, I'm afraid I would have been devoured by his flying locust formation." "I see." The white-faced scholar pondered for a moment and said, "Brother Yi, I think the goo poison in Chiko's body should have been refined by Wu Du." The white-faced scholar frowned and said, "What?" Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chiko were shocked when they heard this. "I'm just guessing," the white-faced scholar said. "Wu Du and Jinchan were originally from the same sect. Moreover, the two of them had a very good relationship. However, I heard that in order to obtain the Green Sorcerer scripture, he used Gu to frame Tian Kanzi. However, your Yi family unintentionally saw through it. Tian Kanzi expelled him from the sect. From then on, there was no news of him. I heard that he went to Japan's Fuso. I didn't expect you to meet him. I don't think this is a coincidence." "Japan's Fuso?" Yi Fan frowned when he heard this. "It's really him." The white-faced scholar said, "What happened?" "I won't hide it from Brother Kim. It was my grandfather Yi Yun who saw through Wu Du's trick back then," Yi Fan said. "Oh." The white-faced scholar smiled and said, "No wonder. Big Brother, let's talk inside." "Let Chiko tell you the whole story," Yi Fan said. "Okay." The white-faced scholar nodded. Chapter 76. "Brother Kim, that's the whole story," Yi Fan said to the pale-faced scholar after Fujiwara no Chiko finished telling the story. The pale-faced scholar did not say a word during Fujiwara no Chiko's narration. He only took a few sips of tea from time to time. "Brother Yi," the pale-faced scholar placed the teacup on the stone table and said something that made Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chiko dumbfounded. "I've known about Matsumoto Takayoshi's shocking conspiracy for a long time." "What?" Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chiko were shocked. "Brother Kim, you've known about this for a long time?" "That's right." The pale-faced scholar looked at the two of them in disbelief and said slowly, "Back then, after Eldritch's accident, I was in a bad mood, so I traveled overseas to relax. My first stop was Japan. However, as soon as I arrived in Japan, I felt that something was wrong." "What's wrong?" Fujiwara no Chiko asked. Under normal circumstances, even in peaceful times, there would be some demons stirring up trouble, let alone Japan, which has been at war for years. In addition, it's surrounded by the sea and the Yin energy is strong, so there would be no lack of wild spirits and fish monsters stirring up trouble. However, at that time, I found that the entire Japanese demon realm was strangely quiet. I went to all the places in Japan, but I didn't find a single demon other than the normal cycle of Een, the pale-faced scholar said as he picked up the teacup and took a sip of the fragrant tea. What happened after that? Yi Fan also felt that something was wrong. After that, I had no choice but to go to East China Sea and have a few words with Ao Guang, the pale-faced scholar said calmly. Ao Guang? Yi Fan was shocked. East Sea Dragon King? That's him. The pale-faced scholar said. The entire East Sea is under his rule, so if you want to know about Japan, he is the most suitable person to look for. Yi Fan was dumbfounded. He couldn't imagine that such a thing as chatting with the Dragon King of the East Sea would come out of his brother Kim's mouth. It was like a visit from a relative. He told me that recently, all the big and small demons in Japan seem to have disappeared into thin air. The entire Japan has become clean, the pale-faced scholar said. However, he once passed by Japan on a cloud and discovered a strange place. Where? Yi Fan asked. According to his memories, there was a mansion in the eastern ocean continent that was surrounded by black chi and demonic chi. The pale-faced scholar said. At that time, he was in a hurry to report to the heavenly court, so he didn't take a closer look. After all, the matters on the continent were not under his jurisdiction, so he only took a quick glance. Then, Brother Kim, did you check it out? Yi Fan asked. At that time, I had nothing to do, so I went to check the sky above the place he mentioned. Only then did I see some clues, the pale-faced scholar said. The pale-faced scholar said, the reason why the demonic aura lingered there is not because it was willing, but because it was forcibly brought there. There are countless demons, and from the looks of the demonic aura, most of them have quite a high cultivation level. Could it be that an expert is subduing demons and monsters to benefit the people? Yi Fan asked. At first I thought so too, the pale-faced scholar said slowly. However, when I saw the ghost cauldron in the center of the demonic chi, I understood. This was not an expert subduing demons and monsters. This was clearly someone cultivating evil art. Ghost cauldron? Yi Fan asked with a frown. This name didn't sound like anything good. The ghost cauldron is also known as the Een refining cauldron, the pale-faced scholar said. It was an evil item refined by an evil sect expert in Japan. It was said that it was made from thousands of resentful corpses as firewood and used a secret technique to refine the bronze with ghost fire. This bronze was definitely not ordinary bronze. It had to be a bronze sword weapon that had killed hundreds of people. The murderous aura combined with the secret technique and the resentment of the corpses made the power of this cauldron imaginable, the pale-faced scholar said with a frown. It was said that when this cauldron was forged, the weather changed and ghosts cried. The evil sect expert was struck by lightning and turned into pieces on the spot because the evil item he forged was too evil and went against the harmony of heaven. The fragments of this cauldron were sealed by the righteous Japanese expert. They buried it deep underground and cast a large Buddha on it, using the power of Buddha to suppress the evil chi. Unexpectedly, someone unsealed the seal and reassembled it into its original form. It reappeared and wreaked havoc in the human world. Then, could it be that someone is using this cauldron to subdue evil? That's not impossible, Yi Fan said. Brother Yi, you've forgotten, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Not all demons wreak havoc. Although some are demons, they are compassionate. For example, Nie Qing's 1,000 Demons Hall and Xiao Zhao. There are even many immortals who were demons in their previous lives. The pale-faced scholar said, however, judging from the situation at that time, the ghost cauldron forcibly captured all demons regardless of whether they were good or evil. If it was a righteous person, he would definitely not have done so. Brother Kim, you're right. However, Yi Fan frowned and asked, why did the ghost cauldron forcibly capture these demons? I was possessing an old man that day. When I saw this scene, I landed on the cloud and came to the front of the mansion, the pale-faced scholar said. The pale-faced scholar recalled. That mansion was extremely magnificent and had a large number of ninja experts guarding it. Ninja? Could it be? Fujiwara no Chiko suddenly said in shock. Could it be the Twilight Autumn Mansion? That's right, the pale-faced scholar said. It's Matsumoto Takayoshi's current official residence, the Twilight Autumn Mansion. What happened after that? Brother Kim, did you go in to check it out? Yifan asked. I did, the pale-faced scholar said. I used the invisibility spell to hide my figure and walked around inside. I saw the refining cauldron placed in the center of the garden and also saw the owner of the evil cauldron. It was Matsumoto Takayoshi's ancestor. The pale-faced scholar recalled. This person was young but had great ambitions. He secretly asked the experts of the evil sect to use the refining cauldron to control the Japanese demon realm. Those demons could not withstand the torture of the refining cauldron and pledged their loyalty to him, becoming his claws. Now, this evil cauldron has been passed down to Matsumoto Takayoshi's generation. Did he control these demons to seize the great Ming dynasty's divine weapon? Fujiwara no Chiko asked. That's right, the pale-faced scholar said. The small Japanese empire could not satisfy his appetite. Moreover, other than the refining cauldron, I heard that he also obtained the secret weapon Kusanagi sword. Coupled with the support of the evil god Sietian, his strength cannot be underestimated. When Fujiwara no Chiko heard the two words Sietian, she could not help but think of the strange statue that day. Even now, it was still vivid in her mind. That Sietian's background is not small, Fujiwara no Chiko said. There are indeed many powerful demons in the Japanese Empire, the pale-faced scholar said. I don't know the background of that Sietian, but his cultivation is not simple. Even the refining cauldron is nothing to him. In my opinion, he has at least thousands of years of cultivation. Then why did he support Matsumoto Takayoshi? Fujiwara no Chiko said. Logically speaking, the divine weapon of the country should not be attractive to demons. It must be that Matsumoto Takayoshi promised him something, the pale-faced scholar said. Once he helps Matsumoto Takayoshi obtain the divine weapon of the country and take over the world, he will be granted a title in the future and become a god worshipped by the whole country. At that time, there will be endless incense, which will be beneficial to his cultivation. Brother Kim, have you fought with Sietian before? Fujiwara no Chiko asked. No, the pale-faced scholar said. I can't recklessly intervene in the affairs of the human world. Moreover, this matter has nothing to do with me and we are in the Japanese Empire, so why should I care? The divine weapon of the great Ming dynasty? Yifan asked. Is there really such a thing? There is more than that, the pale-faced scholar said slowly. There is more than one. More than one. Yifan was surprised. Since ancient times, there have been many divine weapons in the land of China, the pale-faced scholar said. But when it comes to the divine weapon of the country, there are only 9 that can be considered as such. 9? Yifan felt a little incredulous. That many? Ha, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Speaking of which, this divine weapon of the country can be said to be known by all women and children in the great Ming dynasty. Known by all women and children. Yifan and Fujiwara no Chiko became more and more confused. It's the 9 cauldrons. The pale-faced scholar picked up the teapot and filled his cup. I see. Yifan suddenly understood. Fujiwara no Chiko finally understood what the divine weapon of the great Ming dynasty that Matsumoto Takayoshi was talking about was. But Brother Kim, Yifan frowned and asked, can the 9 cauldrons really protect the country? If Matsumoto Takayoshi obtains these, can he really obtain the country of the great Ming dynasty? That's right, the pale-faced scholar stood up and said. Whoever obtains the 9 cauldrons obtains the world. But, Yi Fan asked doubtfully, as far as I know, many dynasties didn't obtain the 9 cauldrons, but didn't they still obtain the world? Obtaining the world doesn't necessarily require the 9 cauldrons, but possessing the 9 cauldrons will obtain the world, the pale-faced scholar explained. Brother Kim, I understand. Yi Fan was suddenly enlightened after listening to the pale-faced scholar's explanation. Fujiwara no Chiko also nodded. Ha ha, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Brother Yi and sister-in-law, I've made a fool of myself. I also heard this from my master. Yi Fan was shocked in disbelief. Brother Kim, you have a master? Of course, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Why can't I, your brother Kim, have a master? Then what kind of person can be brother Kim's master? Yi Fan sighed after hearing this. To be able to be brother Kim's master, what kind of cultivation did this person have? Yi Fan didn't dare to think about it. It's getting late, so let's not talk about it for now. I still have to go listen to my master's lecture. The pale-faced scholar smiled mysteriously. In short, this Matsumoto Takeyoshi is very ambitious and has many monsters under his command. Now that Chiko's identity has been exposed, he will definitely send experts to kill you two. You two, husband and wife, must not go out and travel for the next few days. Remember this. Then, Brother Kim, when will you come back? Fujiwara no Chiko asked. I came back because I asked for leave from my master. I won't be back for a long time, otherwise Xiao Zhao will blame me again, the pale-faced scholar said. Speaking of Xiao Zhao, why haven't I seen her yet? Where did she go? Fujiwara no Chiko asked. Her, haha, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. She probably drank too much yesterday and hasn't woken up yet. No wonder I didn't see her this morning. Yi Fan said. Don't worry, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. I will come back to see you when I have the chance. Then, Brother Kim, take care. Fujiwara no Chiko said. Sister-in-law, don't worry. The pale-faced scholar said with a smile to Fujiwara no Chiko. You must look after my sworn brother and urge him to practice well. Also, hurry up and give birth to a little nephew for me. Ah ha ha. The pale-faced scholar looked up to the sky and laughed. Fujiwara no Chiko's face turned red, but she just smiled without saying anything. I almost forgot, the pale-faced scholar said. Brother Yi, the mysterious secret that I gave you, you must not be in a hurry to succeed. You must blindly practice it. You must wait until your chi-si is completely filled with pure spiritual energy before you start practicing it. Otherwise, it will be easy to go crazy. Do you understand? I will remember, Brother Kim. Yi Fan nodded and said, Brother Kim, take care. And you stay here, I will go first. The pale-faced scholar said and disappeared without any movement. Brother Kim, Fujiwara no Chiko looked at the pale-faced scholar who disappeared, her face showing surprise. She had only heard Yi Fan talk about Brother Kim's cultivation. Now that she saw it with her own eyes, her face was still full of surprise and shock. Brother Kim is like this, coming and going without a trace. You will slowly get used to it, wife. Yi Fan said with a smile. Chapter 77. After the pale-faced scholar left, Yi Fan took Fujiwara no Chiko to the garden to eat some snack. After eating, he took her to the full moon pavilion at the top of Phoenix Cry Mountain to enjoy the scenery. At this time, a red sun was hanging in the sky, and thousands of golden rays were sprinkled on the top of Phoenix Cry Mountain, which was extremely spectacular. Looking down from here, there was a large lush forest, full of green trees and red flowers, and gurgling streams, which made people feel relaxed and happy. Clouds surrounded their feet, as if they were in a fairyland. It's really beautiful here. Fujiwara no Chiko sincerely said. It's even more beautiful than my hometown's Mount Fuji. How is it? My cave is not bad, right? Yi Fan said with a smile. It should be said that it's your previous life's cave. Fujiwara no Chiko smiled and closed her eyes, taking a deep breath of fresh air. I really don't know what kind of person Eldritch was in your previous life. Both good and evil, the moon is white and the wind is clean. Yi Fan looked at the beautiful scenery and said, these 8 words were the evaluation of Eldritch at that time. He must be an interesting person. Fujiwara no Chiko said, otherwise, how could he have such an elegant cave? Do you like it here? Yi Fan held Fujiwara no Chiko's shoulder and asked. Of course I like it. Fujiwara no Chiko softly said, leaning her head on Yi Fan's body. Brother Yi, sister-in-law. Xiao Zhao's voice came from behind. The two of them turned around and found Xiao Zhao, who was dressed in plain clothes, walking towards them. She held a white sword in her hand, and her waterfall-like black hair was tied up with a green thread. It was completely different from her usual attire. Usually, other than going up the mountain to pick herbs, Xiao Zhao would wear his pink clothes. However, today she was wearing white clothes. Coupled with Xiao Zhao's peerlessly beautiful appearance, she was like a fairy in a painting as she leisurely walked in front of the two people. The observant Yi Fan noticed that Xiao Zhao's eyes were red. It was obvious that she had been crying. However, what made Yi Fan feel even more uneasy was that Xiao Zhao was carrying a bundle on her shoulder. Good morning, Brother Yi. Good morning, sister-in-law. Xiao Zhao greeted them with a smile. What are you? Yi Fan pointed at Xiao Zhao's bag and asked. Brother Yi, I'm leaving, Xiao Zhao said with a smile. Where are we going? Yi Fan seemed to understand Xiao Zhao's intention. To go out and gain experience. Xiao Zhao smiled. We can't stay here forever. Xiao Zhao, you can't go. Fujiwara no Chiko held Xiao Zhao's hand. I haven't talked to you properly yet. Although you call me sister-in-law, I still treat you as an older sister. Listen to your younger sister, don't go. Sister-in-law, listen to what you're saying. Xiao Zhao smiled. After I was saved by Brother Yi, I've been living here for hundreds of years. It's been so boring. Now that Brother Yi is under your care, I'm finally free. Xiao Zhao continued, since you and Brother Yi just got married, I can move out and look around. Sister-in-law, I understand your good intentions, but I've already decided. Sister-in-law, don't try to persuade me. Xiao Zhao, listen to me. Don't mess around. Yi Fan couldn't bear it. This Lingyun cave is big enough. Don't tell me you have to live alone? Listen to your sister-in-law and don't go. Brother Yi, you and sister-in-law are newlyweds. What's the point of me staying? Xiao Zhao smiled. You're a couple, leaving me all alone. Yi Fan was speechless by the eloquent Xiao Zhao. Brother Yi, don't worry. Xiao Zhao looked at Yi Fan's hesitant expression and smiled. I'm hundreds of years old. I know how to take care of myself. Last night, Jinshan told me to go to her place to play when I'm free. I thought that since I haven't been to Miaojiang before, I agreed to mother-in-law's request. You're going to Jinshan's place? Yi Fan asked. Yes. Xiao Zhao said. It just so happens that mother-in-law is also alone right now. Yi Fan didn't say anything after hearing this. He didn't want Xiao Zhao to move out, but he couldn't find a suitable reason to make her stay. You've thought it through? Yi Fan asked. Yes. Xiao Zhao replied. Yi Fan took out a stack of banknotes. These banknotes were given to him by his father, Yi Kong, at the Yi family's ancestral home. There were more than 50,000 taels of silver. In Miaojiang, he spent more than 30,000 taels of silver on food, drinks, and custom-made silver locks. Now, he had more than 20,000 taels of silver left. Yi Fan handed the banknotes to Xiao Zhao. Take this money with you in case you need it. The people of this world are sinister. You've been staying in Lingyun Cave all this time, so you don't have much experience. You must take good care of yourself. Brother Yi. Xiao Zhao hurriedly refused. I'm not going to do business. Why would I need so much money? I have enough money. It's enough for my expenses along the way. How much money do you have? Yi Fan asked. More than 30 taels of silver. With some jewelry, I have about. Before Xiao Zhao could finish speaking, Yi Fan stuffed the banknotes into Xiao Zhao's hands. How can that little amount be enough? Listen to me. Take it. There's really no need. Brother Yi. Xiao Zhao continued to refuse. Her hand accidentally touched Yi Fan's hand, and she immediately pulled it back as if she had been electrocuted. This small action made Yi Fan feel very sad. He recalled the first time he came to Lingyun Cave. When Xiao Zhao found out that he was Eldritch's reincarnation, she had hugged his naked body without a care. However, in just a few short days, it was as if there was a huge mountain between them. Now, even unintentional skin contact made Xiao Zhao want to avoid it. He understood Xiao Zhao's thoughts, but he already had Chico, Xiao Zhao, take it. Fujiwara no Chico took the banknotes and put them into Xiao Zhao's hands again. This is Brother Ye's kind intentions. If you continue to refuse, your brother Yi won't be happy. After hearing Fujiwara no Chico's words, Xiao Zhao glanced at Yi Fan, who was frowning, and reluctantly agreed. Thank you, Brother Yi. Thank you, sister-in-law, said Xiao Zhao. Take care of yourself along the way. You're already a few 100 years old. Don't act like a child, reminded Yi Fan. Got it. Xiao Zhao lowered her head and said, Brother Yi, sister-in-law Chico, I'm leaving. Take care. If there's a chance, I'll come back to see you. After saying this, she turned around and walked to the cliff. Her figure landed, and she slowly floated down the mountain. No matter what, she had a few 100 years of cultivation. With Brother Kim's frequent guidance, although she couldn't fly in the air, she could still fly for a period of time. A white figure flew down the mountain like a fallen leaf. Chico, wait for me here, Yi Fan said as he looked at Xiao Zhao's swaying body. I'll send her down the mountain. I'll be back soon. Okay. Fujiwara no Chico replied. Yi Fan nodded. Then, he used his spiritual energy and used his movement technique. A shadow floated down from the sky and chased after Xiao Zhao. At this time, Xiao Zhao had already landed halfway up the mountain. With her face full of tears, she was about to turn around and take another look at Fengming Mountain, which she was reluctant to part with. Unexpectedly, just as she turned around, a familiar figure quickly floated in front of her. Brother Yi! Xiao Zhao exclaimed. This shock caused her breathing to become unstable, and her body began to sway violently. Yi Fan immediately grabbed Xiao Zhao's hand and used his spiritual energy to support Xiao Zhao's body. With the support of his powerful spiritual energy, Xiao Zhao's body immediately became as stable as Mount Tai. Why are you here? Xiao Zhao asked in surprise. Where's sister-in-law? I saw that your body was unstable. I was afraid that something might have happened to you. Yi Fan glanced at Xiao Zhao, whose face was still covered in tears, and said, Your sister-in-law is still at the full moon pavilion. Xiao Zhao said. Her hand was tightly held by Yi Fan, causing her face to turn red. Yo, Yi Fan said with a smile. You can even blush. Why didn't you blush when you hugged me back then? You. When Xiao Zhao heard Yi Fan's words, her face turned even redder. Hee. Yi Fan looked at Xiao Zhao's red face and laughed. You're not allowed to laugh. Xiao Zhao said angrily. Okay, I won't laugh. Yi Fan smiled. Seeing that they were about to reach the foot of the mountain, Yi Fan slowly withdrew his spiritual energy, and the two of them gently landed on the ground. Okay, Brother Yi, quickly go back. Otherwise, sister-in-law will get anxious from waiting. Xiao Zhao withdrew her hand from Yi Fan's grasp. Go out and play for a few days and come back. Yi Fan handed the cloth bag to Xiao Zhao. This Lingyun Cave is your home. I only have you as my little sister. Don't make me keep thinking about you. Okay. Xiao Zhao lowered her head and said. Okay, when you get there, learn a few moves from Jinchan. Yi Fan smiled and said, when you come back, get a sedan chair and sit on it. Okay. As Xiao Zhao spoke, she suddenly threw herself into Yi Fan's arms and hugged Yi Fan tightly. She said, Brother Yi, take care. Yi Fan smiled as he looked at Xiao Zhao in his arms. You're quite brave. Aren't you afraid that your sister-in-law will see? Although he said this, Yi Fan still did not push Xiao Zhao away. I'm your little sister. Xiao Zhao hugged him even tighter. As a little sister, it's not too much to hug her big brother before leaving. You little girl, you're right. Yi Fan said as he patted Xiao Zhao's shoulder. Okay, let's hurry. After a while, I'll take Chico to Miaojiang to see you. Really? Xiao Zhao looked up and said excitedly, That's great. You. Yi Fan scratched Xiao Zhao's nose and said with a smile, You're already a few 100 years old, but you still act like a 3-year-old child. Xiao Zhao laughed and let go of Yi Fan. Then, Brother Yi, I'm leaving. Okay. Yi Fan smiled and said, Be careful on the road. If anything happens, I won't be able to find a sister as old as you. Yi Fan said as his Yuling Qi slowly rose. You're already a few 100 years old, but you still make people worry. TSK, TSK, TSK. Yi Fan shook his head and laughed. You. Xiao Zhao immediately widened her almond-shaped eyes in anger. You. Say that again. After saying that, she jumped up to hit Yi Fan. However, Yi Fan was already more than 100 feet above the ground. Xiao Zhao could not reach him at all. You can't reach me, right? Yi Fan floated in the air and made a face. When you learn Jinchan's flying sedan, come back and take revenge on me. Ha ha. Just you wait. See how I'll deal with you when I come back. Xiao Zhao angrily turned around and left. However, when she turned around, there was a smile on her face. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.